Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Costume Co. And today we're doing a live stream. I have a special guest. It's Jamie Hughes. Sorry, first.
Sorry.
Sorry, are you
stealing your thunder, Jamie? Sorry.
Sorry, we have a special guest. We have a special guest. Jamie Hughes is here from the Jamie Hughes Show.
Hello, everybody. Back again so soon.
Yes, and I'm so happy you're back. And Jamie was here about a month ago, and we were talking about summer movies coming up. And I asked him to come on this weekend because I just thought he'd been reviewing some of the movies that we had talked about. I thought that would be a good opportunity to go through them. But today I have a special co-host. Now you can say hello. Patrick is here with me. He's my special co-host. And Patrick and I, actually, we go a long way back. We went to theater school together. And Patrick and I, so how long have we known each other, Pat?
I started there in '95, so yeah, going on.
So it's been about 20 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, so guys, so it might look a little bit odd today, but we've kind of changed the setup a little bit. We've normally I'm sitting at the desk, but today we have like we're sitting by the backdrop. We had to do a bit of arranging. It took a little bit of doing, right?
Yeah.
We had some help.
Just a little bit, yeah.
We had some help from Jack, our massive team of technicians,
our army of people behind the camera.
Yeah. So anyway, then a couple of things I want to say is, first off, it's Canada Day tomorrow, so I want to wish all of our Canadian viewers happy Canada Day, and then it's going to be July 4th. Will be what day will that be on? That'll be on Wednesday. So I want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day, all of our American friends. And Jamie, are you over there?
Hello. Yeah, we
And Jamie, last time I said incorrectly that you were from Great Britain, but Jamie is from Wales.
Yeah, so we've got no national holidays coming up, which is a shame.
So
We've
hello.
got to wait till like August for the bank holiday. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to say hello to all of our Welsh viewers. Then I don't know if we have any Welsh viewers, but Jamie, do you have Welsh viewers?
Let us know in the chat. Let us know.
I'm just checking to see who's here. Is there anyone in the chat yet?
It looks like there is.
Oh, here we go. Aaron LaFay is here. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Aaron is one of my oldest viewers. He's also our wonderful mod. And I had him as a guest on 2 weeks ago, and he was showing us some of his wonderful costume designs. And Golf Princess is here. Hello. And Carrie McDonald, she says, just saying a quick hello. Have to watch later. All right, Carrie. I hope you can come back later. We'll probably be here for a while. But if not, we'll see you on the replay. And Golf Princess says, yay, hi, everyone. And Jasmine List is here. Hello, she says. Okay, so what we're going to do today for this live stream, Pat is going to be my lovely co-host. And and then I'm going to sort of reveal one of the reasons why Pat is here in a little bit. But first, Jamie, what we're going to do is start with some of the movies that you've watched in the past, month or so. And so, do you just want to get right to it?
Sure. What would you like to start with? What do you want to know? I'm going to have to keep these spoiler free, am I? I'm guessing.
Maybe we'll do spoiler free. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, you guys, you have to bear with me. I have to go to the technical thing here. Jamie, do you see that?
I do.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I have a little bit of a slideshow. Look, I made this for you, Jamie.
Oh, wow, look at that. I'm loving it.
Yeah, just a little bit of a thing here for you. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is Ocean's 8.
Okie doke. I have to think.
So Ocean's 8. So all right. So I haven't seen, Pat, have you seen any of these movies?
I saw the first two.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of like a gender bending, or a female version of Ocean's 11. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's really fun, actually. It's not. I don't think it's the best of the Ocean series, but I said in my review, I don't know if Pat feels the same, but I feel like the George Clooney versions really take themselves too seriously and think they're like the coolest kid in school, but they're really not. Whereas Ocean's 8 is kind of the goofy stepsister of those Ocean's movies. And I think that was kind of the role. Yeah, and it just really didn't take itself too seriously. It's a really fun heist movie. It's not perfect by like any stretch of the imagination. It was quite bland in points, but the things they got right, they got really right, and the things they did well, they did really well. So yeah, I thought it was fine. It was a whole lot of fun for the most part, and the cast is really good as well. I just thank you for popping up because it just reminded me how impressed I was with most of the cast as well. I think Sandra Bullock is brilliant. It's probably one of the best performances in years. My favourite character is Anne Hathaway's. I won't give too much away about her character,
really? Okay.
but she's awesome. Yeah, really. I don't think this is a spoiler, but she has the most twists and turns with the character. Her character goes through the most kind of development in the film.
Yeah.
And it's just really surprising to see, and it worked really well.
Now, what about Rihanna? Because she sort of had, she's had. I don't know if you saw the Luc Besson movie she did recently. What's it called? The science fiction one. She was in that. She played Bubbles.
Valerian, is it?
Valerian, yeah. I thought she was really good in it. But how do you think she was in this?
She was okay.
Yes.
I'm not the biggest fan of Rihanna being an actress.
Sure.
As I said, like she was in Valerian, she was in Battleships, and she wasn't great, but she holds her own in this movie, which is kind of nice. Her character is just very serviceable. She fills that role well. So yeah, she didn't take up too much screen time. So she was fine. Probably is the best way to describe it. She's just fine.
Yeah, Pat, you haven't seen this yet, right?
I have not seen this.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I think. Well, actually, it's funny, Jamie, I wasn't going to see it, but after your review, I think I will see it because, like I said, I haven't seen the Ocean's 11, and I don't even know why I hadn't seen them. I'm kind of surprised I hadn't seen them, but because I normally do like heist movies. So, but now, do you feel like, because there's been a lot of criticism of this type of thing. We talked a bit about this with Ghostbusters. Do you think that how do you feel about them taking a male-centric, cast and then flipping it and making it a female cast? What do you think about this?
In the nicest way possible. As long as the movie's good, I don't really care. And I think Ocean's 8 really did kind of not get away with it, but it worked. Like not at one point was I like, oh, they're totally ripping off the Ocean's movies. As I said, it did kind of have its own identity, which was nice. It does reference the Ocean's films. And there is a really, really great line in this movie that Sandra Bullock says, and it kind of sums up that whole thing well. And it's like, she says, oh, why don't you get a load of guys to go and rob this bank? And she says, oh, we could go and get guys, but in this instance, we want to be seen but not heard. Oh. And she's like referring to herself as women. She's like, in this instance, we need to be seen and not heard. And I thought, oh, it's just a nice little nod to like.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a nice little middle finger to everybody that's criticized like these female-centric movies. But for the most part, for me, like I'm fine with it as long as the movie's good. I mean, I would not. Again, maybe not to contradict myself, but I would like to see them make more original movies for female characters. Instead of just ripping off or rebooting franchises that already exist. Just go out there, be original, or go and make some fresh original franchises for women to go and kick ass in.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, so do you do ratings, by the way, on your channel?
I don't. I'm not the biggest fan of ratings.
Okay. So what do you do? Do you just sort of say, I recommend you watch this, I don't recommend you? What do you do? I forget.
Yeah, just kind of like my opinion, like as as honest as I can, my opinion, and then kind of give I suppose a final summary of yes, I think you should go and watch this.
Yeah.
If not, I never discourage people from watching movies because at the end of the day, it's subjective. People might think different to me, so I think everybody should go and see every movie ever and give their opinion on it on the internet. But I would recommend that people go and see Ocean's 8.
Okay, I'm definitely going to do it. I'll probably do it as a rental though.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys get rentals so much quicker over there as well, compared to what we do. We have to wait like 4 or 5 months, I think, from when it finishes. It's run in the cinema, so
yeah,
we'll probably see it in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay, so we're going to talk about the next one. Here, let me just go here, Jamie. I've got a picture of it. The next one we're going to talk about is Heredity. Now, this one looks terrifying. What were your thoughts on it?
It's really, really good, and I'm so glad it was good. I didn't mention this, when we talked about it earlier on in the year, but earlier on in the last month, as it were. I didn't get to mention this. My real reservation with Hereditary is obviously it's an A24 film, and my problem with A24 is the way that they market their movies. I don't know. And Pat, did you've seen this film?
I have not seen this film.
What's A24 mean?
It's just like a production company. They're really quite quite an indie type of filmmaker. They make really different types of movies. But my biggest issue, as I say, is with A24 is that for some reason, whenever they release a horror movie, it's always being billed as like the scariest movie ever, like the scariest movie since this movie. I think the prime examples for that are the movie called The Witch. I don't know if either of you two have seen that.
I love The Witch. I thought it was brilliant. Have you seen it? Pat hasn't seen any of these movies. No, he's
so far behind.
He's seen Solo. I know he saw Solo.
Yes, I did see Solo.
Yeah, we can talk about that after.
And I've seen the new Avengers.
Oh, and he saw the new Avengers, so we can talk about that. Okay, so no, Jamie, you and I think spoke about The Witch in the last time you were here, and if anybody hasn't seen it, like, gosh, it's amazing, and I think it's on Netflix. It's so good, and the girl who is in it, she's fantastic. She's actually like a real up and coming actor. So yeah, she is in. She is in, what is that M. Night movie she's in? You always have to.
Oh, Split. She's the girl.
She's the main character in Split.
Yeah, Split. Yeah.
And then there's a new movie coming out, which looks so good. And I can't remember what it is. I think I saw the trailer for it where she's like some kind of socialite who becomes like a serial killer, I think.
Oh, I've not seen this.
Anna Taylor. I think her name is Anna Taylor something, or have you?
That sounds Anna Taylor-Joy. Anna Taylor-Joy is the one. I think that's her name.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I just got a tech note. Are you guys hearing us okay? Just want to check that everyone's hearing us okay. Because we're sharing a mic and I just got a tech note. Just making sure that everyone can hear us okay. Can you guys hear us okay?
Check 1 2. Check.
Jamie, you can hear us, right?
Yeah, I've got you loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Okay, so go on with Heredity. Sorry, I've interrupted you.
Yeah, so where was that? Yeah, so they had The Witch, which is great. I knew nothing about The Witch when I saw it. I actually only watched it last year, so it was like a real shock to me how great this film was. And then around the time I saw The Witch, there was another movie that was released on A24, which is called It Comes at Night. Have you seen that?
Is that the one with the red door?
Yes, I think so.
Because I saw. Is it with Joel Edgerton?
That's the one.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really good. It's on Netflix as well in Canada.
Oh, see,
have you seen it?
I heard it's good.
I loved it. It kind of had a similar feeling to It Follows.
Yeah, it's very, very similar to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my issue with that movie is that it was being billed as like the scariest movie ever, and I went to see it and I found myself being bored, and I just really didn't enjoy it. But I think that was because I kind of built myself and believed the hype going into it. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrifying. And then when it really wasn't, it was just kind of like just there, and it didn't really scare me at all. But that being said, I went into Hereditary quite reserved. I thought, oh, it's going to be very similar to It Comes at Night, where it's going to be more of not a thinking man's film, but everything's not going to be there. It's not going to be like stereotypical horror jump scares. And I absolutely love this movie. And it was what I expected. There are not these over-the-top jump scares. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't even bill this movie as a horror. It has horror elements into it, and especially the film's final act is very horror-centric. But for the most part, it's like this really harrowing tale of my interpretation of it, this harrowing tale of like mental health and family issues, and that was kind of where I took more of my enjoyment from this movie rather than the more kind of stereotypical horror that I think everybody else did. So yes, it's very scary, but for me, it's not a horror, if that makes sense. But I still loved it. I absolutely adore this film.
Oh, I can't wait to see it then. And I love Toni Collette. She's a huge, I mean, she's Australian, but she's a huge success in America.
Totally. I said this in my review, but I genuinely believe that I think Toni Collette will be nominated for an Oscar for this movie. She's that good.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm going to definitely see that. Like the one thing about the It Follows, and I mean, one of my favorite horror movies is Get Out. Like I love that movie so much. And I've seen it a couple of times, actually. I loved it so much. But one of the things I like about those types of movies is that they're suspenseful and they sort of grow on you. Like they're sort of slow to build. But it kind of has more of I feel like a Hitchcock sort of feeling to it, as opposed to some of those jump scare style movies. And I really, really like that. So this is a definite recommendation from you then, I guess.
Definitely. And again, to kind of back up what you said there, I think it's Ari Aster's the director of Hereditary, and again, like you just said, it feels very Hitchcockian in its technical elements. This movie, it's very, very good, and I love this movie, and I didn't think I would. It was probably my biggest surprise of the year so far.
That's awesome. Do you do stuff like top 10 lists? Like at the end, I mean, I know your channel is still pretty new.
Yeah, I've done. Like at the end of each year, I do like my 10 favorite movies. Hopefully this year I might do my 10 worst movies of the year, because I've seen a few bad ones, but I don't do over the top 10 lists, if that makes sense. Just do them now and again.
Oh, do tell what are these worst movies that you?
Oh, you just put me on the spot now. I'm gonna have to rack my brains. For one, speaking of bad horror films, definitely is Winchester. I don't know. Have you heard of it?
Oh, I heard it's terrible. I heard it's a stinker.
Oh, yeah. So bad. And it's such a shame because it's got Helen Mirren and Jason
Mirren's in it. And it's a really fascinating story too.
That was the thing. I thought, I'm so sold on this movie.
Yeah, that's too bad. I don't know if you know about that story about the Winchester family. The people who created the Winchester.
Oh yes.
Rifles.
The house that kind of has.
And then it's haunted or
everywhere.
Whatever. Yeah, and Helen Mirren was in it. Dead ends
and doors that don't go anywhere, stairs that stop. Yeah. I know about the house. Yeah.
Because one of my favorite movies about a haunted house is Crimson Peak. Like I love that movie. They did a really good job with that, Jamie. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Guillermo del Toro. And
I think I've seen bits.
Yeah, it's a really it's beautiful. Like it's not the best movie, but it's a beautiful movie, and they did an incredible job, with the art direction and the cinematography. And it's a really great sort of. It's almost more, I would say, actually more gothic. It's like I would call it a gothic horror, kind of like The Woman in Black, that type of thing.
Yeah.
With Harry Potter. What's his name? Daniel Radcliffe. The Woman in Black, I think it's called. Jamie, you should know you're British.
I know, yeah. Well, he's my best mate. Well, me and Dan
Radcliffe know him? All the time. That's like people, when people are Canadian, we go traveling, they'll say, "Oh, do you know so and so?" And we're like, "Do you know how big this country is?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He lives in Ottawa. It's like, we live like 8 hours away, but whatever.
Or the other side of the country.
The other side of the country. Yeah. I was just going to read a few comments here. Let me just go back to, we'll just go back to there. Am I on here? Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. I got to go back to the main camera. There we go. Here we are. Hi. Well, just, Jamie, I'm just going to read a few comments here, see what people are saying in the chat. Away. Let's see. Jasmine says, I don't know about you, but I think women like it a lot more than men. I think she must have been talking about, Ocean series. Golf Princess says, funny, good script, especially if you like the Ocean series already. Aaron says, a good actress can be wasted by a bad script, not saying that the movie is not good because I have not seen it, but it happens all the time in Hollywood.
I think any actor, any performer can wasted if
absolutely.
The script isn't good or
absolutely.
or they're underutilized or
Jack and I just saw a movie last night called Tao.
Yeah,
and it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, and Gary Oldman plays this AI. Like it's like it's like a house, like a smart house. Jamie, you know what a smart house is? So it's run by an AI, and anyways, it kind of got mixed reviews, and I was like, wow, like Gary Oldman is in this, and Ed Skrein was in it. So, you know, there was a lot of problems with the script, I think, though. But I don't know. It was an interesting study. Like, it was an interesting, I don't know. I think it was still worth seeing. So it's called Tau, T-A-U, anybody, if you want to check it out on Netflix. So what else did everyone say here? My husband and his friends liked it. And she's talking about some Golf Princess says her husband and friends liked Ocean's. Is it Ocean's 13? What was it again?
Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
Sorry, I missed your live stream. I was sad and out of town, says Herman Bums Bum. So Cindy I think she's talking about she missed Aaron's live stream when he was on here a few weeks ago. What else is everyone saying? Reboots are lazy, but I wish that instead of reboots, why not expand on the world movies that we already know? I'm not sure what he means by that. I am too chicken to see Hereditary. No spoilers, please, because we'll probably get it on Netflix and watch it in the middle of the day. Laugh out loud. That's a good time to watch a horror movie, eh? Pat, in the middle of the day, because then, like, you don't have to go to bed right after and, like, climb up the staircase and it's all dark and terrifying.
That's half the fun, though. If you know, you're not one of those people that is really affected deeply by, you know, horror movies or the scares. Then,
30 Days is asking if you're my husband. No, Patrick. Oh, this is Patrick, everybody. If you're just coming in, Patrick is not my husband. Actually, Jack was here earlier. He was helping us with the tech.
Yeah.
No, Patrick and I are old friends. We went to theater school together. So we majored in technical theater production at Ryerson University in Toronto. And Pat is, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. He's helping me with my book. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that in a bit. Tatiana says, we all see ghosts. We're messed up like that. 30 Days says, so I see ghosts? 30 Days says, I was late. Sorry, missed the intro. Oh, no problem, 30 Days. I'm glad you're here. 30 Days, Jamie, I think I mentioned this to you last time. He's another creator that I've met through the YouTube verse. What do you call it when there's like a group of YouTubers? Is it YouTube verse?
The YouTube verse, I guess. The YouTube colony.
The YouTube colony. Okay, so Jamie, the next movie we're going to talk about is Jurassic World. Are you ready to talk about that?
I am, but before I go, I'm just going to recommend, because you just triggered something in my mind about how like haunted house movies is, and I think somebody mentioned something that just really is. There's a TV movie. You might probably know it better than me, but there's a TV version, and it's about 3 or 4 hours long, maybe longer, of Stephen King's Rose Red.
No, I don't know it.
I actually do know it. I saw part of it. I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, no, I do know of it. It's not an adaptation, as far as I know, of any of his books.
It's an original script?
It's an original it's a miniseries that it came out, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
he had a lot at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they redid The Shining, they had The Stand, so he was kind of on a roll of sort of TV miniseries every couple of years. It was before that.
Before Under the Dome,
yeah, long before. Yeah. There's another one. Storm of the Century was another one around that time.
Pat is a huge Stephen King fan. He knows a lot about Stephen King. Actually, Jamie, I don't know if you saw the Black Tower. Is it the Black Tower?
Dark Tower?
The Dark Tower. I'd read the book, and Patrick's read all the books. So did you see that movie by any chance?
I didn't. I missed it because it didn't have the best reviews, and it got a really, really short run over in the UK. It was in the cinemas for like 2-3 weeks, and then it left. So
same here. It had the same kind of run here because of the reviews. Yeah.
So Pat, do you want to go?
Which is a shame.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I know it is a shame that it didn't, because obviously otherwise they would have released consecutive show or movies or made it into a TV series.
Apparently they're still looking at that. It's not completely off the table from what because being a big fan of King and a big fan of The Dark Tower in particular for many, many years, it's, one of those epics like, say, Lord of the Rings caliber, stories that, you know, for the longest time that was considered unfilmable. There had been attempts, you know, the animated versions prior to Lord of the Rings, but you know, those sort of barely scratched the surface. And Tolkien fans, you know, will argue till the cows come home about, you know, the success of the Peter Jackson adaptations. But like those, The Dark Tower was considered sort of unfilmable and had been in kind of development purgatory for many, many years, with different directors attached and different scripts, and talk of, you know, doing it as like an HBO or Showtime kind of TV series. And I guess those are still, they haven't, you know, dismissed that, despite the sort of the poor reception generally. I mean, yeah, I could review the entire movie, but yeah, it had problems. It wasn't a perfect movie. I'd still say King fans, I'm sure they were the primary ones who saw it, but yeah, it's certainly worth seeing. I think you know, definitely check it out. It's up on Netflix, I think, now.
And I have one little tip, like a little what do you call it? Little story behind it, that the woman who did the costumes for the Dark Tower also did the costumes for the original Westworld, like season 1 of Westworld.
Oh, yeah.
Which is funny because there's a man in black in Westworld, and there's a man in black in the Dark Tower. So that's kind of cool, right?
It's the first,
and they're both
first line of the series.
It's the first line.
Yeah,
the man
in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed.
Yeah,
and the first line.
And it's interesting too, because they're like, even though, well, the Dark Tower sort of is. Like it's like a hybrid of like it's in an alternative universe, but it has a cowboy, like a Western sort of it's
sort of a dystopian future with like the Western motifs have sort of arisen after like it's not really our world, but they're a parallel, so they're like familiar things.
Yeah, so I thought that was really fun when I read that about Trish Summerfeld, I think her name is, doing the costumes for both the for Westworld and the Dark Tower. I kind of like was interested in seeing it. I haven't seen it, but I've read the book. I think I still would see it, despite
the Dark Tower movie.
Yeah, I think. Have you seen it?
Oh, I've seen it several times. Yeah, I have the Blu-ray. I saw it in the theater.
Oh, so you're a fan then?
Yeah, no, I liked it. I mean, you kind of are bringing to the movie, as a fan myself, bringing to it kind of all the knowledge that you have. Because I remember, for example, I would go see, you know, 1 or 2 of the Harry Potter movies in the theater with my brother. I saw them all in the theater, but once or twice was with my brother, who had never read the books. So he would come out and he would enjoy them. He would have questions, or he'd be like, what was the significance of this or that character? And I'd say, well, in the book, this, and this. And it is a truism that you shouldn't have to read the book to enjoy the movie. So I'm going into the movie The Dark Tower with the advantage of kind of knowing, I know that character's backstory, or I know the significance of this thing, or this plot point, you know, is connected to the books in this way. So and also just seeing, you know, the characters I've been reading about sort of coming to life has its you know, that there's that thrill. But no, I don't think the criticisms were unfounded. It's not like it's unfairly maligned. It did have some problems. Probably the biggest one, without sort of spoiling any specific thing, just in general, it was kind of the middle. It was almost too short. It was about 90 minutes. And
that's what I was thinking.
And a movie like that, you know, the story has room to breathe. And the movie, it's not like it was, you know, running over long and they had to chop out important stuff and just pare it down to 2.5 hours just to get it in the theaters. Like, no, you could have thrown in another 20 or 30 minutes worth of world building stuff in the middle and character building stuff to sort of connect the audience to what was going on. That was my that's my review. Sorry, I know reviews are your thing, Jamie. Actually, since we're on that topic, that I can chime in on that. It's a movie I have seen. Yeah, so.
There's actually there's a few Rose Red and Dark Tower fans in the chat here too. See, we're all like-minded people here. The Costume Co stream on the Saturday night. So Jamie, what do you think about if we go to your next movie that you wanted to talk about, which you know, I have to say, Jurassic World, I saw the original, like not the original, but the reboot of it, and I have to say I kind of found it boring, but that's just me. So what did you think of the, here, let me just go to the, let me go here. and move along here. There we go. I've got the poster up there for you. Yeah, it's a pretty good poster, actually.
I know, it's probably sadly one of the best things about the film because the poster.
Oh no! Here we go.
No,
Here we go.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not going to be salty. I'm going to be salty. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to give my fair opinion on it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just I've seen the one before this. Have you seen it, Patrick?
Jurassic World, the first one? No, I kind of stopped with the Jurassic Park ones and the sort of mixed reviews, which I remember being generally favorable of the first Jurassic World.
Yeah.
But no, I never got around to it.
I think I fell asleep during it, to be honest with you. But I'm weird like that. I'll fall asleep during things that you're not supposed to fall asleep during. I'm a mother. I've got a couple of kids, you know. So Jamie, tell us what you thought about this movie.
So first up, I loved Jurassic World. I thought it was probably one of my favorite films of that. I think it was 2015 or 2016, whenever it came out. Like, I just got absolutely injected by all of the nostalgia that was in it. I think I teared up at the first scene where you move through the park and the original Jurassic Park movie hit, the soundtrack hit. It just gave me all of the feels. So I love Jurassic World, love Jurassic Park, massive fan of the franchise. I do think Fallen Kingdom is flawed massively. It's really, I don't want to drag on the movie and really hate on it too much, but it's very, very clunky, and it takes a long time to find its feet and really get its message across. But one of the big positives for this movie is the film's kind of final sequence. It's really scaled down. For Jurassic World, it's the not original Jurassic World, but it all takes place on an island. It's huge, massive sets. Whereas in this one, I don't think it's a spoiler, but the majority of the final kind of act in this movie takes place inside a mansion, inside a house, and it just feels so small. So contained.
That's interesting. Was there a budget? Did they have a budget cut? Maybe. This is
I'm not sure.
The house here. Do you see the picture?
Yeah, that's the house.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that does seem odd.
It was really odd. When you're watching it, but then the more I thought about it, it worked so well because it really took Jurassic Park back to its roots of I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but the raptor scene in the first Jurassic Park movie
at the end,
absolutely,
the chasing kids.
It almost feels like every Jurassic Park movie after that has tried to recreate that. Where with this, it felt like they were just kind of respected it and almost paying homage to it rather than actually trying to just rip it off, and it just works so well. J.A. Boyena, but I think that's how you pronounce his name, the director's name, did such a good job of crafting genuine moments of horror in the film's final sequence inside that house. It felt very reminiscent of the raptor scene in the first movie, but very fresh and new and genuinely terrifying. But the rest of the film is just kind of ugh. But the ending is amazing.
That's a shame. Okay, so do you think it's worth seeing it then, just for that last scene then?
Oh yeah, just for the last 20 minutes of this movie, just go and see it because it deserves to be seen on the big screen.
So how did you find Chris Pratt and Ron Howard's daughter? What's her name?
Is it Bryce Dallas Howard?
Bryce Dallas Howard, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her character's name. She's so bland. Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt. Do you know what I mean? He can't really do anything wrong. It's a role that he works really well for him. The kind of cocky.
Yeah.
It's almost like the cocky sidekick, but he's the cocky leading man. So Chris Pratt was fine. Bryce Dallas Howard was fine. A little bit boring.
It's kind of weird when you think about it. He's got two franchises, which I guess is sort of
I know.
Indiana Jones and Star Wars for Harrison Ford. He had two really big movie franchises. So I guess that's not unusual. But yeah, it's pretty fortunate for him.
Yeah. And he's doing it. I would say he's doing a great job in both.
So you don't think he has much chemistry with Bryce Dallas Howard? Is that how you say her name again? Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yeah, I think they work together. like quite well, but it's more like just Bryce Dallas Howard as a character, like her character as a character is just really like a little bit like one-dimensional, and she doesn't really have a purpose in this film. She doesn't really fit as well as she did in the first movie. It just kind of felt like they just picked her up and placed her with Chris Pratt again just to try and make it work.
So that he has a love interest. Is Jeff Goldblum in this?
He is, and this is one of the things that has garnered the most criticism from what I've seen online. I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. I don't know if I can mention it without giving too much away. If
you think it's a spoiler, don't say it.
I don't know. I don't know if it is, but okay, he's not in it in the way that you have seen him in it before, if that makes sense, without giving too much away.
Sure.
So, but for me, how what his involvement was in the film worked for me. It was kind of like going back to the original Jeff Goldblum, Dr. Eos movie, and just updating him for the 21st century. And I really liked it, but I've seen a lot of people get really feel like they've been missold on him. And that's where people's criticisms come off. But for me personally, I enjoyed it. I think he was in there for the right reasons, and it was there in the right storyline sense. So yeah, for me it worked, but I can see why people would be annoyed maybe or feel missold by it.
Yeah, well, I think I'm probably going to see this. Now, do you think this would be a good movie I can see with my kids, or do you think it's too scary?
Have they seen the first Jurassic Park?
No.
Maybe show them that first, and then if they get scared by that, then I wouldn't. But if they enjoy it, then definitely go and take them to see this movie.
Yeah, the movie the first adventure movie that I took the kids to see was Jumanji, the new one. Oh, which is really good, by the way. Jamie, have you seen it?
I have, yeah. It was really one of the very few films I saw, but didn't actually review on my channel. I saw it really late, like about a month after it came out, and I just couldn't be bothered doing a review of it.
Yeah, the kids loved it, and then we went back and watched the original. So that's kind of fun. We've been kind of doing that lately. Like we'll watch, like, say, a reboot of a movie, and then we'll go back and watch the original. It's really fun for me because then I get to go back and watch some of these older movies.
And that's one of those movies where you don't necessarily have to have seen the original, the Robin Williams one, to understand, the premise of the. What is it like inside a computer, basically?
Yeah, like so for the new one, they do sort of tie it to the original one a little bit, but they sort of do a modern sort of interpretation. So yeah, like Patrick's saying, you don't have to see it, and I love that. Like for these young people, they can go see. But The Rock is like anything The Rock's in, I usually enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I think you and I talked about Baywatch like last time. Last time you were on, and I, honestly, we just sort of checked our brains and just, had a couple of drinks and watched it. It was really fun. I thought it was fine.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Baywatch, the everything. Anyways, I love The Rock. He's always good. Oh, sorry, my man in black keeps falling over, and so sorry, I had to move these from my shelf. So we decided that maybe the man in black would hook up with Danny. I don't know what you guys think about that idea. He's a little bit old for her though, so I don't have a John, guys. Sorry. Yeah, he's pretty old. He's like in his 70s or something. Danny's like in her, maybe her late 20s. No, she's supposed to be like in her 20s, I think. Maybe by now. Okay, so the one movie you haven't seen, though, that I have seen, I'm the only one who's here who's seen it, is The Incredibles. So here, I'm going to just put a picture of it up here. You guys, I'm running OBS here, so this is pretty crazy for me. Okay, so... oh, here, Jamie, I'm going to put it on there. Okay. So I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen The Incredibles. Has anybody in the chat seen The Incredibles? No one's saying yet. Maybe they haven't heard me yet, though. Okay, guys, I have to say, like, Jamie, this movie, it was so good. Like, and you were talking about in one of your videos how the sales were for this movie, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the.
It set records.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you for a second there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you now. You just cut out for a second then, but you're back. You're back.
Okay, good.
I think you're back. Yeah, good. Yeah, I got you.
No, I was just asking you. You were saying that the new Incredibles 2, has set records.
Yes, and I can't remember the figures off the top of my head, but it's now the highest grossing animated movie of all time for like an opening weekend. I think it did just over. Oh, I think it was like 158 million or something
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
It
Wow.
did, and it was projected to do about 130. It beat which I can't remember what film it was for. It's been a while since I did that news video. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it recently it hit over 500 million. So it's, I think the highest grossing animated movie of all time is Frozen, which is like 1.1 billion. So it is catching up on Frozen quite quickly, and it hasn't even been released over here in the UK yet. It comes out on the 13th of July, and then it gets like a sporadic release over the rest of Europe over the next few weeks and months. So it very well could become the highest grossing animated movie of all time.
Yeah. So, you know, I think my favorite Pixar movie had always been Toy Story. I love Toy Story. I think it was one of the first Pixar movies I ever saw. So maybe it's nostalgia. Have you seen all the Toy Story movies, Pat?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, really amazing series. Pixar, their quality is fantastic. And I read that they were planning on doing a Toy Story 4. And are you watching the stream? So, you know, really,
yeah, I was just signing in.
Oh, okay, but I can hear it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. We're having a technical problem here. So anyway, what happened was there's been some problems with Lasseter. He's gotten into some legal issues. So I was reading Brad Bird said that because of Lasseter's issues, like sexual harassment issues, they decided to back burner Toy Story 4, and then they had to up the release date for The Incredibles 2. And Brad Bird, you know, he did go off and do all kinds of other projects. He said, it's not like I've been sitting around like waiting to do Incredibles 2. So they had to up it. So he was really under the gun to get this movie done. So they did it in like record time, apparently. So originally Toy Story 4 should have been released first, and then The Incredibles would have come out. So I think Toy Story 4 will be coming out eventually. I'm just not sure what the release date is. So anyway, I would say, like, it was funny when we went to see it in the theater, we saw it in 3D and we were so close to the front. We were like, you know, straining our necks, but everyone in the theater was having such a blast. It was such a great movie. It's really funny, lots of funny moments. And of course, my favorite character, Edna Mode, is in it. So I was thrilled by that because she's a costume designer. I have a video on her. Yeah. So anyways, I would say that it's probably easily one, like in my top 10 favorite animated movies of all time. Like just incredible. Oh, pun. I made a little pun there.
But
yeah, sorry, it was bad though. So anyway, so when are you getting it? When's it coming to Great Britain?
It is, I think it's July the 13th. I think we get it over here.
Yeah. So you're gonna go see it then?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know if anyone
the day comes out.
I don't know if anyone in the chat's seen it and what you guys think about it. Yeah, it was just so good. And, you know, I have to say, I think my favorite, besides Edna Mode, my favorite character was Jack. And it's funny because, like, my son is 12, right? And he's named after his grandfather. But I swear to God, when he was born, I wanted to name him Jack. Firstly, because my husband's name is Jack. Or John. And then I just thought, I just loved the baby so much. And then in this movie, he's just even better than he was in the original. Because, you know, he's sort of like just, you know, the scene with the babysitter is just a riot, right? Yeah. In the original. But in this movie, it just cemented, my love for him just cemented. So I kind of a little regretful that I didn't name my son Jack, because it's such a great name.
It might get confusing with your husband, though.
It would be confusing with, it would be a little confusing because husband would be Jack and then the baby would be Jack. Yeah. So does anyone say they've seen it? Oops, gotta go. Sorry, my phone is dying. Oh, bye, Aaron. Aaron's gotta go. I'm checking out for the length of this segment. See ya. And Tatiana. So we're losing a few people, guys. Okay. So now what I wanted to do, Jamie, and you're going to be here for this. And let me just go back to regular mode, guys. Doing my OBS here. Okay, we're on the main camera. Okay, can everyone see us? Hopefully. So what I was going to tell you, so Jamie, I was just sort of mentioning to you that I'm writing a book. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all of my Game of Thrones videos and I'm compiling it and then expanding it and making it into a compilation of the costumes of Game of Thrones. It's going to be something like Game of Thrones from A to Z, or Game of Thrones costume Bible, or something like that. And Pat is an amazingly talented artist. Oh, well, Pat, let's tell me a little bit about yourself, though.
I'm a writer. I'm an artist. I'm a storyteller. You can find me on Instagram, Patrick Lemieux Artist.
Yeah, I'll put Patrick's. Jamie, I've already got your contact in the description, so I'll put Pat's. You're on Facebook. You're on Twitter.
On Facebook, yeah. Again, Patrick Lemieux Artist. On Twitter.
Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram. Yeah, Patrick Lemieux Artist.
So I'll put his contact. Yeah. So Patrick is a writer, and I talked about him a little bit a couple of weeks ago. So what? And you actually, Jamie, it was with you. So we were talking about the Queen movie coming out, which we're really excited about, right? With Rami, what's his last name? Do you know his last name? Malik. Yeah, he's got his Queen shirt on. And so I was saying I was going to have Patrick come on. We're going to talk about the movie because Patrick, actually, I mean,
I've been a fan for many years.
He's been a fan for many years. He wrote a book called The Queen Chronology, but you've also
co-wrote with a friend. Yeah,
co-wrote it. But he's also you've spoken with like one of the members of Queen.
Emailing Brian May on occasion.
Yeah,
it was a long, I think, interesting story behind that. And yeah.
So I think what we're going to do is probably when we were talking about when the Queen trailer comes out, the next one. Yeah. I'm gonna have Patrick come on.
The first one was fantastic.
The first one was amazing. Yeah. So anyway, so what happened was there's issues with copyright that I've encountered with writing my Game of Thrones book, and one of them is that HBO won't release anything. You can't get permission to use any of the photos. So what I decided to do is, in consultation with Patrick, was have him do illustrations of the costumes, and then I would go from there. And that's sort of what we've done. So I was just going to show you guys a few of them if you want to see them, and then Patrick can maybe explain it to you. See what everyone's doing here. Hold on a second, Pat. I've lost my phone keeps going to sleep. What's going on there? Oh, here we go. Sorry, I got some dead air here, guys. Sorry about that. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to the OBS, and I'm going to put it here. So this is Patrick, how you spell his name, Patrick Lemieux. Although he's not French, just has a French name. So the first one we're going to go to is this one. So you want to tell me a little bit about this drawing, Patrick?
That's Cersei Lannister. One of her sort of black, dark gray gowns. Which season was that from again?
Okay, well, I think this one, I don't have in my notes in front of me, but I think this is from season 4.
Yeah.
So this would have been after, or actually it would have been after, what's his name? Joffrey had been killed, and then she's decided to go sort of into her mourning clothes, and so she had a variety of like mourning dresses. So this one
she's got the sort of armor plated,
she's got the belt, and then she's got but what I love about it is the lining of the dress. She's got like these daggers, and Michelle, those are fun to draw. Those are fun to draw, and Michelle Clapton had to have this fabric printed. She had it printed specially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So so what you've done, so just tell me a little bit about your drawing process here.
Well, I was working from stills pulled from the episodes and some photos. You obviously have a huge collection of those, so
yes.
So it's a deep well to draw from. So yeah, looking at those, and the funny thing about that is you'd think, oh, just pull some stills and be able to draw it, but it's actually rare that you have sort of a full body shot like this. So what I end up having to do is basically sort of extrapolate, okay, this is what sort of the upper half looks like. Oh, here's a good shot of, her hand with the sleeve. Here's, a sideways view. you know, where you see sort of the full body, and then I want to sort of standardize the pose so that you get kind of the most out of the costume. Like you see, you know, as many of the details as possible. So yeah, you kind of put those elements together and then, you know, pencil it, ink it, the outline, and then color it. And I'm curious if maybe I can guess what medium I used for the actual color, because I know somebody will guess one thing and it'll probably be wrong. I'll actually be kind of impressed if somebody in the audience can figure out what.
Okay, I've got a couple of beautiful. Oh, hi, Hannah. There's a Hannah here. Hannah B is here. She says, "Wow, beautiful."
Oh, thank you.
And Herman Bum's mom, who's Cindy, says, "Beautiful." And 30 Days says, "Awesome." So we'll see if they give it a response to that.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for that, because there's a bit of a delay.
Okay. You want to go to the next one?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I use the same process
and the other
with
thing
all
is,
of them. So.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Pat and I sort of decided that we were just not filling the faces.
Yeah, it's for several reasons.
Yeah.
It's the book is about the costumes. Yeah. It's not about the actors. It's not about necessarily the characters, unless, you know, the character is informed somehow by what's in the costume. So, you know, for an artistic reason, there's that. There's also, you know, likeness rights issues, which we didn't necessarily want to get into, drawing the actors, because the actors have, you know, provisions in their contracts, as well as like agents and lawyers, and they have a right within certain parameters to, you know, how their likeness is used, which is why, you know, say toys, for example, don't necessarily always look like the actor that portrayed them, like, you know, Star Wars toys or.
And they also, when you go to the when you go to the exhibits that show the costumes, oftentimes it's on a mannequin with a plain face. Sometimes they'll do a wig, or they'll just do paper hair even.
Right.
Someone guessed pencil, which, I mean, some of it's pencil.
Some of there's like pencil outline.
Pencil outline.
So that's sort of the base. Though you're, I guess I can say, I mean, it's pencil crayon. So you were
pencil
close.
Crayon, yeah.
So,
but was it wet pencil crayon, like the Prismacolor?
Prismacolor,
oh, okay.
Which is, it's a really soft. I love the.
I love Prismacolor too.
Yeah, it's really soft. You can blend well with it, and then it's just sort of years of practice of sort of being able to fine tune it that way, and you can like make corrections because it does blend. If, you know, something's too dark, you can add some, you know, use the white and add some highlight to it. If you find, okay, that's wrong, you can add some, you know, darkness to it, that kind of thing. And there's a wide variety. I've replaced many of the actual pencil crayons, but I'm still using the same set I had back in high school. Is a huge, there's like 48 color set that I got, and I've replaced a number of them.
When I saw this, I thought you painted this. When I looked at it, I thought you had painted it.
A lot of people have said that who've seen
it looks like paint.
my work. Yeah, because it, like I said, it blends so smoothly.
Absolutely.
And it.
So Pretty Dark said she thought it was Copics. I don't even know what that is. Copics or watercolor with pencil crayon.
Right. Yeah, we got the pencil crayon part. Right? Yeah. No, and I can see that because it's so smooth. Because it's so smooth, and it has this nice kind of, because it's pencil crayon and it's soft, has sort of like a nice waxy film. When you're finished. Which means you have to take care of it. You know, it not that it smudges easily, but you're constantly, as you're using it, and like the little dust particles that kind of build up. I'm basically every 10 seconds or so, as I'm blending the colors together, or even just applying the color, I've got the brush and I'm like sweeping off that, because it can get under your hands and suddenly you have smudge marks all over while you're working. So it's sort of a delicate process.
Anne says she's never heard of pencil crayon, but I think she knows pencil crayon. Pencil crayons are their long sticks. It's like a long stick.
It's like a pencil, but colored, like a colored pencil.
like a pencil that's colored. Exactly. Yeah. So it's not really crayon-like at all. Yeah. So, I mean, my kids use pencil crayons, but a lot of adults use them as well. And they're, and what I like about it too, is it's kind of like a costume design, the way you've illustrated it. So like Patrick was saying, that when you're doing a costume design, you want to make sure all aspects of it are seen. I mean, obviously you can't see the back, but you get the idea, like her arms are up, so you can see the lining of the sleeves. You can see sort of the folds of the fabric and all that, and how it's actually draped on her.
Yeah, and you'll see as we sort of scroll through that the some of the next ones that
they're
in sort of a similar pose.
Yeah.
You know, the arms out in a certain way at kind of a 3/4 angle, so not, you know, necessarily face on to the viewer. So you get a sense of the depth.
That, you know, Patrick has chosen these particular designs. It's just kind of out of order. Like, there's no specific order to this. I mean, you just was like, this is obviously not Sansa's most popular costume, but you were just like, I'll just do this one.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there was no, like, as we're exchanging the information, you're providing me the images. I'm sort of going through them and picking this one, picking that one.
Yeah, this one was really hard for you because you don't even have a picture of the bottom of this costume.
Not a very good one. This is from season 1.
Yeah.
This one actually I can't tell you who it's from. This is
young Sansa.
This is young Sansa. This is like her the second or third outfit we see her in the I think the third in the first episode.
Yeah. At the banquet.
At the banquet, but there's one shot before as her and her mother Kat are preparing for the banquet.
Her
mother's doing her hair. And that was actually one of that was really, I think, the only shot I could find where you get sort of any sense of what the dress looks like from the waist down.
Yeah.
And because she's sitting and the camera pans around her and there's a chair and there's a table in front of her. So you get maybe like 1 second of it. And I found a clip on YouTube that somebody had got on there. So I watched it in addition to the still that you gave me of that same scene, because as the camera's panning and you're getting sort of a slightly different angle, you can sort of extrapolate, you know, what's happening. So it appeared that the lower half kind of flared out and opened in there. You could see more of the lining, and that obviously she had sort of her dress underneath, whereas sort of the outer layer looked almost like a thicker kind of fabric, because when she's sitting, you see these kind of thick folds around her tummy, as opposed to, you know, when she's standing and everything falls and drapes and is nice and clean and straight, as you see in the one publicity still, which is from about the waist, from about the navel, from the waist up, which was also a good shot, but didn't really tell me anything from what was happening below. So
it's interesting here too, because when you look at it, you go, wow, you can really see the similarity between her and her mother. Like the drape is very, very close to her mother, like to Callan.
And the other thing I did with this was looking at some of the other designs of the dresses, because these things sort of inform themselves, and sometimes the designer kind of borrows from, you know, his or herself when they're designing.
Oh, costumes. She does.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm talking about Michelle Clapton here. She totally does.
So the long sleeves, the big sort of open sleeves, it appeared that was sort of the style, which, you know, isn't, in my opinion, isn't necessarily you know, a bad thing. I mean, like, if the costumes start looking the same, yes, but if certain styles kind of come out from piece to piece, you know, that just sort of says something about the world. So I sort of took it that way, as, okay, it appears as she's sitting that these sort of big sleeves are there, and sort of went from that, and then sort of the almost like a fur line that sort of folded back. That was sort of the best interpretation I could get. If we suddenly get, you know, some awesome still of this outfit and I'm completely wrong, I really admit that I was just working from a still on this. And so it was one of the more challenging ones to do. And that was part of why I picked it, as going back to your original question, as, you know, why this one? It's not necessarily the most well-known, the most popular. It's, you know, first episode, season 1, early in the episode. I'm sure people look at it like, I don't remember her ever actually wearing that outfit, but she did. And that was part of why I chose it, was to see, you know, what can, as I was poking around, part of the fun was finding, oh, I can see this bit from this shot and this bit from that shot. And then, you know, how well can I kind of tie all of these things together? And you and I had an exchange the other night as I was working on the color, because there is that publicity still I was telling you about from sort of the waist up. The color kind of her, the color in the publicity still is almost sort of a blue gray, whereas in the episode, it's almost a mauve purple kind of shade. And I was like, okay, which are we going to go to? Are we going to go to what the fabric actually looks like in reality, or are we going to base this on what is shown in canon on screen, say for future cosplayers who might buy this book, they're watching the show and they might do their own research and find the same thing, but they don't necessarily want what reality tells them the fabric looks like. They want, show accurate costumes.
That's interesting because a lot of the cosplayers, I don't know, like it's interesting because a lot of the cosplayers I've encountered, they like what's called screen accurate print, but that usually means what they want to source the fabric from wherever the designer sourced it from. So, and I think this is like a slub silk or something like that, which is like a nubby type of silk, and that Michelle loves to use. But she did say in interviews that she had Sansa in gray, so that's why we sort of made that decision. And also there were some other pictures of her kind of, but she does wear mauvey, and gray can be kind of mauvey too, so as opposed to blue, but you still have a bit of the mauve in there, I think.
It is this particular shot, because it was just a quick shot with my camera. It wasn't like a full proper scan, which would pull out all the colors that I used. So what appear to be sort of the bluer highlights in and around the shaded areas are actually a bit more mauve, a bit more purple blended in, because I tried to kind of have a good balance between that one publicity still that's nice up close, where it's very definitely sort of a blue-gray color of fabric, and the mauve of, after, the color correction and filter that you see actually in the episode proper, so that when the book is published, people can look at it and still recognize it as the correct, what their mind will say, oh, this is correct, sort of from both angles, because there are some shots where, some parts of it, when they're lit, when they're in sort of a direct light source, go back to that kind of gray, but when they're in shadow, it goes to this sort of mauvey color in some of the shots during the actual banquet. So yeah, it was that was the challenge.
And also from looking at the pictures, like silk, it can have slubs that will be different colors because of the way they weave it. So that's probably possible. But unfortunately, unless they take the costume, put it on a mannequin, put it in a studio and take a picture of it, we don't really know. So sometimes this is what I have to do, and this is what Patrick's doing. I have to interpret it.
Right.
So that's we hope we just get it right as close as possible.
As close as possible. Yeah. And like I said, it's with this one in particular, and I know there's probably going to be more as we proceed.
Sure.
Because there are some outfits the characters wear for one scene. They're sitting at a table. I have no idea what's going on.
No, I know.
with the lower half of their body.
I had the same problem. Like with season 7, I had a lot of problems, and then because I was doing weekly shows, weekly episodes. Jamie, I know you're still there, honey. And
sorry,
you do the roundup. You do the roundup for the week, and then Jamie, you might have had this problem too with the when you're doing the weekly wrap up of the episode in season 7, and I'm like, I don't even know what I saw there. And then, maybe a couple of weeks later, they release the stills of the costumes or close-ups. And I'm like, oh my God, I got this completely wrong.
Right.
But you don't have all the information. And then a lot of times, even the studio, like HBO, will release low-res pictures. You can't even zoom in on them. So it's really frustrating.
And I know a lot of cosplayers go through that with their own research.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of cosplayers do a ton of research. Yeah.
I know, like, one little anecdote, Adam Savage of Mythbusters fame. He's a big cosplayer. He goes to a lot of conventions, and he goes kind of all out. And one of his outfits that he did a few years ago was Chewbacca from Star Wars. And he worked from stills and tried to kind of measure out from the bandolier. There's a lot of information he was able to find about the actual Wookiee costume for Chewie, like the fur, the hair. But the bandolier, they're just, it's a bandolier. Nobody kind of documented a whole lot on it that he was able to find. So he's working from stills. And he's trying to, do kind of eyeball measurements based on the size of things he could tell in the shot.
I'm surprised he couldn't track down the original props maker for it, because he's pretty connected. It's not like you and I, where you can just call somebody up and go, hey, can I talk to you about this?
I guess it wasn't something he had access to, or
it might be not be alive anymore,
or
the costume designer's dead, eh?
Yeah,
John Molo's dead.
Yeah. But so he wasn't able to sort of get that information. So just basically eyeballed it, like those boxes on the bandolier, their ammunition or whatever. So he kind of eyeballed it and made his own bandolier, and would go to conventions. And then a few years later, ran into somebody who actually was able to make that connection, go to Lucasfilm and properly measured those boxes, and Adam was way off. Like they were almost twice as big, because on screen things, the size of things, the physical relationship of things just goes right out the window. It's hard to judge sometimes, even something as simple as a square box, a rectangular box. So it's these things happen even to the most seasoned, experienced, talented whatever cosplayers. So I feel in good company of making these extrapolations and guesses and decisions.
And okay, here we're gonna move to this one. This is incredible. Well, everyone's gonna know who this is. I hope you know who it is.
Who's this guy?
Some guy who's in Winterfell or something.
He's in Lord of the Rings.
He's also in Lord of the Rings. He gets like there's that meme of him in Lord of the Rings, Sean Bean in Lord of the Rings. Yeah. What is it? Like he's like this.
One does not just.
One does not just
insert.
And I don't know if you've seen Jamie. I don't know. I think we might have talked about this. Have you seen the Frankenstein Chronicles?
I have not. You recommended to me last time, but I've still not managed.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Anyway, well, Pat,
I've seen season 1.
Oh, Pat's seen season 1. Okay. Anyway, so Sean Bean's in it. So far, he's alive. Poor Sean Bean. Everything he's in. Okay, this is of course Ned Eddard Stark.
Yep. Season 1, obviously.
Season 1. Only season. Oh, spoilers. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. If you're not aware of that. So yeah, season 1. And funny thing with this, because I started this one, we had just begun the project. This was like, I think my second one that I did, second or third.
Yeah.
And
you did. So I think you did Danny first.
Yes, and you hadn't sent me these pictures of Ned yet.
That's right.
We were still sort of going back and forth. But I was just curious, because we had, even before you sent me any of the pictures, I was just looking up, just my own costume information just to see what I could find. So I found, there were some great shots, and then one of the links led me to basically a a really lifelike toy.
Oh yeah, the toy,
super detailed.
Yeah.
And now it is a toy, so I was like, okay, what has changed? What might have shifted, scale wise, because some, fabric and cloth and yarn, that sort of thing, don't scale down. So Barbie, for example, this was mentioned in the show, The Toys That Made Us. One of the things that they mentioned in talking about Barbie's proportions, one of the reasons for that was just practical, because the clothing she had to wear, had to fit the doll. You couldn't just shrink the clothing. Like a piece of yarn for Barbie is a rope, they say. So, using that sort of mentality, I was like, okay, what necessarily, did they have to change? It turns out very little. Like the detail, they changed materials sometimes. So leather is rubber, but it looks leather, and because I know what leather looks like, I can reproduce it. So it's not like I drew the toy, but I used that as a reference because somebody who reviewed the toy had some awesome detailed photos of the toys, like up close shots of the swords and the belt and the cape and the cloak that he's wearing, which you can take on and off. So using that, as well as stills that I found, and other details. This was this is almost the polar opposite of working on Sansa's outfit. Here I had, sort of more information than I could ever have used. I could have drawn 20 different views of Ned in this outfit.
Well, this outfit for him, if he had a statement outfit, kind of like Jon Snow, this would be his statement outfit. So they did get a lot of really good pictures of this. Like, of course, they have exteriors of him in it. Yeah, some really good ones, and
he wears it a lot. So there's some.
And he wears it a lot, and then the cloak, of course, and then he's wearing the same cloak as well when Robert comes to Winterfell as well. So there's some good shots of it there, and it's just like. She, obviously the costume designer was wanted everyone in their very best and looking really good. And, the whole family are all dressed up except for Arya, who's late, and so on. So it's just, it's just a really I think the designer said he only really has 4 outfits in the whole season, which is sort of funny when you think about it.
Yeah, that's about what I found looking him
so
up.
he only has 4 outfits in total. But this is, and then of course, what's great about this is that because they've established this look for him, it basically travels through all 7 seasons. Like by the final season, but not final season, but by season 7, Jon is essentially wearing this outfit.
Yes.
Except he has the armor on, which, you know, when I think I sent you a few pictures of him in the armor. So by the time Ned is knowing that his life is threatened, that he's in danger, he's pretty much wearing his armor all the time. So yeah, so Golf Princess is impressive, and 30 Days says so much detail, amazing. It is really amazing.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this.
Let's do 100 more of these. You're not going to want to put this much detail into them all, otherwise it's going to take you forever.
I'm gonna. Well, yeah, that's.
But this would be a good one for the cover, I think. Like
I thought something similar too.
I was thinking it would be good
to use the
title page, or I was thinking this would be a good. You know, I started thinking about it like, oh, we could do like a nice composite of some of the costumes, but this for sure would be one I would want to have on the cover.
Yeah, it turned out really, really well. Like even working on the. So the gambeson that he's wearing, and that detail, because I didn't draw out each of those little squares as I drew it. I just kind of knew I had the photos in front of me of the stills and of the toy, and I was sitting there counting each square, like how many squares over, how many squares up.
That's brilliant.
You know,
but it's funny because I just did so I just did Shogun World. I just did the costumes of Shogun World for Westworld. If any of you have seen it, and it's really interesting because, you know, after watching that and looking at Japanese costume, you can really see the Japanese influence on those skirts, because the Japanese would have worn, the samurai would have worn those kind of quilted skirts underneath their armor, or leather skirts, just to protect their legs from blows and slashes and things from their weapons. And
gambeson was a
it was a medieval.
It was a medieval armor, a simple medieval armor, but very effective. From some of my research, even before we started this project.
Well, and I was even reading like even modern fencers use the skirts as well. So you see Arya, like when I did the Arya video, so she's not really wearing like a gambeson per se, but she's got the skirt on. Her dad has somehow found her a skirt to wear when she's training with you know, training to with who's the guy's name? I forget his name.
In season 1,
Solario, Sirio? Is it Sirio? What's his name?
Somebody will correct us.
Solario? You guys know.
Do you know in the comment section?
Yeah, let us know. Okay, so we have one more. There's only 4 guys. So Jamie, we just have one more. And then we'll come, when you get more, we'll have you come back.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then we'll we can hopefully talk more about the book too then. Okay, so
this was the first one that I did.
This is the first one Pat did.
Yeah. I tried to pick one that was you know, basically straightforward, you know, as a sort of a starting point, because, you know, it's a bit of an experiment doing this this project. I wanted to, you know, see, you know, I haven't quite, at least in a long time, gone into sort of this much detail for within this medium, and doing it sort of this way. Like I have some costume design experience, and just, you know, my art experience. So I thought, okay, this is sort of a simple, straightforward outfit. You know, not a lot of you know, getting sort of persnickety details or anything like that.
And she's used this silhouette like a lot. Like you have her in. This is one of the earlier versions. Like she's still in marine here. This is actually the famous scene she wears this in is when she goes down to see her dragon.
And that's there's a lot of those stills that
it's a little bit dark.
It's very dark, and actually to brighten up the stills that you sent me. Because I could see what she was wearing, but it's like I couldn't see detail, and I couldn't necessarily see even something as simple as like the color, the tone of the outfit, of the dress. So I brightened it up. I made copies and brightened them up. I'm like, oh, okay, it's this color, because obviously in the show it works. She's down in the catacombs with the dragons, and you know, it's very shadowy and very dramatic.
But her return to her when she comes back to Dragonstone in season 7, she basically has an outfit very similar to this, but just in a different fabric and slightly different. But those boots are pretty much. Now you said you had to slightly alter the just so we could see the boots better, right? Is that what you said to me? Didn't you say that you altered it so that we could see the boots better? Am I incorrect there?
I brightened up various photos to see the boots better.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what you said
and I did some research because she wears those boots are very, very similar boots for much of her time. So,
Serial Pharrell.
Oh, yeah,
that's who it was. Thanks, Anne. Serial Pharrell. I have terrible memory. You guys know that.
So yeah, no, I had to go in and try and get some close-ups of the boots because it appeared in some shots that there were these straps, but in some other shots you couldn't quite see them. But you know, the boots aren't necessarily tight on her, so there are folds.
They're kind of slouchy, and then they are crisscross,
and they crisscross.
And then she always wears pants, so
and she's always wearing like trousers.
She's always wearing trousers, which Michelle says there's in case she needs to make a quick getaway or hop on a dragon.
Which she
does,
which
right?
she does at points. Yeah,
and that's why her dress is slashed as well, so that if she needs to have that movement, you know, like it's slashed. So, but the funny thing is, I looked at the pictures of her boots, and she's basically the colors are sometimes different.
Yeah.
With the exception of season 1 when she's first presented, you know, she pretty much has worn boots like that for 7 years.
Yeah, and I basically had to sort of extrapolate from different shots what, you know, the boots look like and sort of do my best. And I remember texting you because there are the high slits at the front of the skirt, and she's, you know, the skirt part of the dress, and she has the trousers underneath. But when I started watching it, because I hadn't, or started drawing it, I hadn't watched the show in a while. Like it's you know, we're between seasons right now, so I was like, what did she have? What did she have? I literally texted you, like, I had to find out, you know, you know, not to sound weird, what was she wearing underneath that? Because of those slits, you know, I assumed there were, you know, trousers, but, you know, what kind? Or, you know, were they more tights? Were they more sort of rough and ready, which is what they were? Because I found other shots where she's moving and, you know, and the slits open, you can see the trousers underneath. So,
and it's weird because
and
this
just
one,
for a nice thin little thing just on this drawing, I wanted to find out just so it was accurate. Yeah.
And it's funny because in this dress, I mean, she isn't wearing an underskirt, but pretty much all the other dresses she is. Like she, her white dress, like in the Marine Pyramid.
Right.
She usually has some type of dress, but for some reason, I think this is meant to be more like a casual. Like this would be just her not on the throne. So she's, you know, I'm not going to bother with like wearing a full length dress, or it's just, this
is a bit more practical, a bit more.
And it's based off of, I talked about this in a video. It's based off of actually an Indian garment called a kurti, which had those slits.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually, it's got some sort of Indian inspiration. Okay. So anything else you want to add about this, Pat?
I think that about covers it. Yeah, this is the one that I started with. And so what I did with, just in general with the project, I have to do a few more of them now. I basically sort of made almost like a mannequin drawing that I basically stick it underneath these nice thick dark lines underneath each sheet as I'm working, and draw the outfit and the character and the hair. Because, you know, as you can see, there's sort of no face. There's kind of the impression of a face, you know, the eyes and the nose, and, you know, details in this case, the neck, but, and the hair. So you can identify, you know, it's not just, you know, a bald head, which would look a little weird. I mean, I looked at it. I mean, obviously I know who it is, but I think most people would know immediately that it's Daenerys. So that's basically what I do. That's going back to you know, asking about my process. That's basically how I approach these, is, you know, put that underneath and then you draw from that. So, you know, arm position is the same. And I do try to change things. In this case, you know, the one arm is underneath because the way that sort of the cape like part of the dress drops over, I want to sort of highlight that it goes over the arms when her arms are at her side. So you have the one arm sticking out.
It's actually built in. It's built into the dress, as opposed to being a separate unit.
Exactly. So, but I want to sort of show that, so that in this case, that one arm is down. So as I'm drawing it, I had to be like, okay, I'm not drawing that arm. I'm going to draw the
Pretty Dark
cape
says,
over it.
Pretty Dark says, "Ooh, I love that dress so much." And Herman Bums says, "Very nice."
Thank you.
So, okay, we're going to go back to Jamie. Here, let me go back here, guys. Hi, Jamie.
Sorry, we left you there for a little bit while I was rambling.
No, it's cool. I was so engrossed in, like, it was they just blew me away. They're incredible.
Jamie, you're a big Game of Thrones fan too, right?
I am. Don't quiz me on it yet. I haven't watched it for a while, so
no, I won't quiz you on it. But I know, because I know that during the season you were also doing sort of weekly episode reviews.
Yeah. Like I think last season I did like a full season review, then just episode by episode while everything was fresh in my mind, I just blurted out how I felt about Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So, are you excited about season 8?
Oh, sorry, I was like.
Are you excited about season 8 coming up?
It's just got to wait. We've got to wait like another year for it now. So it's just like just want it all.
I know.
Just want it now.
I know. And you didn't watch Westworld, I guess.
I know. I need to catch up. I think the first series is like available like on some demand services over here, and obviously the second series is just kind of finished. So I'm gonna catch up. I promise. I promise.
So for the back end of the show, what we're going to do is Jamie. So he does movie reviews. That's one of the things he does. But the other thing he does is he updates people on what's happening in sort of the movie business, and so and some gossip and that type of thing. So we thought we'd go through that and ask you some things, Jamie, that you've been covering on your channel. Is that okay?
That's cool. Fire away.
Okay, so we just talked. Actually, we talked about The Incredibles, and I already asked you about the whole thing with the box office, so we know that. The next thing is, and Pat knows a little bit about this, so he'll be able to chime in. So It Too is happening, and what can you tell us a bit about that, Jamie?
I don't want to embarrass myself in front of Pat now. He knows far more than I could ever possibly imagine about Stephen King. So Pat, feel free to jump in if I start butchering anything, and feel free to jump in with any knowledge you have of it. But from what I'm aware, it's just started production. It's very close to. They've kind of firmed up all of the Adult Losers Club because obviously the first movie was set in 1987, I want to say 1989. And this one's set 27 years in the future.
Mid 80s.
Yeah.
It's late.
So it's very more or less present day where chapter 2 is going to be set. I think it's around 2015, 2016. So I'm not going to remember all of the like 7 or 8 members of the Adult Losers Club, but the kind of 3 big ones are Jessica Chastain is going to be adult Beverly Marsh. Bill Denbrough, adult Bill Denbrough is going to be James McAvoy, and I think it's Bill Hader. What's his name? The guy from SNL.
Oh, Bill Hader, yeah.
Bill Hader, yeah. He's going to play.
And Bill Skarsgård is it though, right?
Yeah, he's back as it. Yeah.
Pennywise, yeah. Sorry, not yet. Yeah. Oh, but so James McAvoy is going to be in it.
Yeah,
he's a pretty big deal.
I know they've pulled out all the big guns for a chapter 2
from X-Men. He's a pretty big deal. Wow. So, well, the first one did very well.
Yeah, I think it's the second highest or highest rated like horror movie like ever. I know that doesn't really mean much, but yeah, it did really, really well critically and at the box office. So,
did it do
why not
better?
Make it over 2? Did
it do better than Get Out? Do you know?
I don't know. I possibly it had a bit of a better release. Obviously, it came out like summertime, so.
Yeah.
I know.
And anyway, I had a couple people. Sorry, Jamie. I had a couple of people ask me to do a video on the costumes of it, and I just have to tell everybody I hate clowns. So I won't be doing a review on it, and I won't even be seeing it. I actually have a pretty good stomach for pretty much anything, any horror movie, any genre, zombies, horror, violence I'm fine with, but I don't know. I have a thing about clowns, and actually my niece does too. So it runs in the family.
There are a lot of people. Yeah, clowns.
Yeah, I hate them. I've always hated them ever since I was a kid, and I don't even really like circuses either. Like I don't really like that whole thing. I mean, because there's clowns at circuses.
Maybe, yeah. Not for everybody.
Yeah. So the next thing is Jamie. And I found this to be a really interesting story, and I think this is the first time you'd heard this. So apparently, Facebook is going to stop TV shows and movie spoilers, which, especially for people who are into shows like Game of Thrones and some of the bigger shows, that's a pretty cool story. So what are they doing there?
Yeah, so this is very, very recently. I think it was a couple of days ago. They kind of released this new feature called Keyword Snooze, which is essentially kind of the same thing that Mute does on Twitter. But Facebook, it's limit. It's a limited time, but it's quite a long time. So if you pick one of these keywords to snooze, as it were, it gets deleted from your timeline for 30 days. So how they're kind of rolling that out is if somebody makes a post on Facebook, you can click a little option button. It'll have all of the keywords kind of in a drop-down menu, and you can click specific words, and they will be muted from your timeline for 30 days. Yeah, my kind of flaw with that is that you'd have to read the person's post in order to mute what they posted about. So I think it is a little bit flawed compared to the Twitter system where you literally just pop it in and mute.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a situation a couple of years ago. I was watching a show called The 100 and on the CW. And even though it's like the CW, I actually kind of really enjoyed it. And I joined a group, and on the group, I went on it, and the day after an episode had aired, they put a major spoiler on there, and I was so angry. So I left the group. So I don't know if that would have helped me.
I've blocked people on Twitter for.
For sure.
Gail Ann Hurd, the famed producer of The Walking Dead currently, but going back to
she did a spoiler, didn't she?
It's been several years now, so I'm sure if I repeat
heard that was big
about
what
she said, probably isn't much of a spoiler now for The Walking Dead, but she named a cast member saying, "Oh, we'd like to welcome back this cast member, for the upcoming season." And I was like, I didn't want to know that. Now you're telling me about the character. And she didn't say anything about what
was it.
The character
was it Mel? Who was it?
Merle.
Yeah. Because of course he had been the last time we had seen him, he was chained up to he'd been chained to a fence on a roof or something.
And he had appeared, I think, in a sort of a Daryl, his brother, in a sort of a feverish haze as he's fighting to survive against the walkers. But at the time, she was basically announcing sort of his return to the. It wasn't like we welcome him back as a guest spot. It was we welcome him to our cast. And I was just like,
well, that would have been
like I didn't need to know that because the mystery at the time of what happened to Merle was a mystery. It's like next time I find out, about his existence, I will be watching the episode and he appears on screen, and I'm like, wow, Merle's back. So
that's what happened with 100. She did a major spoiler about a major character dying.
Wow.
And I was just like, I couldn't believe that they did that. I'm like, because most people, they don't, can't necessarily watch it the night of. Actually, what I do is if there's a show coming out that I want to see and like, especially like a Game of Thrones, which is always, they have such a hard time. I just stay off social media altogether.
Oh yeah. Same here. Movies. Game of Thrones, Walking Dead.
I saw a spoiler about Star Wars, about The Force Awakens. I was so mad about that one. It was about Carrie Fisher. About her character, about Prince Leia, like a major spoiler. And I'm like, thanks. Or maybe it was about Harrison Ford's character. Okay.
Yeah, my cousin said something about, he said after he saw it, and I didn't see The Force Awakens for like the first day or two, so he'd seen it the night before, and basically was posting on Facebook, I can't believe so-and-so died. And then I was like, oh, dude, spoiler. And then 10 minutes later, I can't believe other person died. And I was like, okay, I know my cousin, he's just being, and one of them was, an actual spoiler because it was buried in the false spoilers. I just kind of shrugged the whole thing off. But so if you're going to do it, that's the way. But I had a question though about the Facebook sort of spoiler keyword thing. I would imagine they would do it in such a way that, if I don't want a Westworld spoiler, I would assume that's in the column. I would select Westworld before, as you say, somebody, Jamie, before somebody actually makes their post about it. And there are a million different ways an actor's name, a prop name or something if it's an important thing.
So you would put like safe words or something. It'd be safe words, wouldn't it?
You'd think like the series name would be one. So if I don't want a Westworld spoiler or Walking Dead spoiler or Star Wars spoiler or the Avengers spoiler, I would pick Avengers. So for the next month, whatever it is.
And I think 30 days is a good amount of time. I think that's
30 days
is that how it works,
more
Jamie?
than fair, I think.
Let's let him talk.
Sorry. I think so. I say it's still very much in its infancy. I say it's a couple of days ago. It hasn't rolled out across. So I think they're still ironing out the kinks. But from what I gather, it is kind of if you mute a word, I think it does try and factor in some algorithms, so it will try and hide kind of everything associated with that. The only thing for definite I know is that it doesn't feature on it doesn't work with adverts, but it's like my thing is, but how many times do you see a spoiler in an advert or a paid advert? So not unless people start doing that.
It's usually someone you know.
Yeah.
It's usually someone we know that does it, right?
And I'm that guy. I've got that reputation on Facebook of being the one who, at least a couple of years ago, and it's settled down. So I think people learned is like, don't, if you're a friend or family member of me on Facebook and we're linked, don't, spoil these shows or movies that I'm into. But yeah, for a couple of seasons there, at the beginning of every season, at the beginning of every hiatus, when a show would come back, it would be, I as you say, I would get off, social media and Facebook. But some would always slip through and they would drive me nuts. And people would admonish me as if I'm the bad guy. This is social media. So people talk about these things. So like, no, this is people waiting in line outside the movie theater, and you're walking out like that old Simpsons joke of Homer walking out of The Empire Strikes Back, and blurts out the major spoiler at the end of that, and everybody in line starts booing him. It's, I make that comparison, as opposed to, people can talk about it, but be aware that not everybody.
Yeah, like I'm in one group. It's an Outlander group, and it's spoils. Like it's a spoil. What do they call it? The opposite of spoiler free. It's the opposite. It's just assume everyone is in that group has seen the thing, seen it, and can talk about it. It's an open forum, so they don't do spoiler free, because it's just like. That's the understanding. It'd be like if you're in I was a member of another super geeky Star Wars forum, and the same thing. The idea is that you've seen all of the prequels and the classic trilogy. So if you hadn't seen the 6 of those movies, you shouldn't just be there. It's kind of the idea. So I think there's that understanding. But when you're on social media and someone the next day just kind of does a tweet about something randomly, that's kind of annoying, or Facebook or whatever. Yeah. That's just, I think they're just being assholes.
Or a meme.
A meme. Like, that's usually how a lot of spoilers would be a meme.
Post memes, like one of them for a few seasons ago of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's not really a spoiler now, but it was a picture of Carol, and it was like, "In Carol we trust," and she's holding a gun, and it was like the beginning of this season, and I was just like, no, I don't even want to know what the context of that shot is. And maybe I'm going a little overboard in some cases, but some of them were genuine spoilers, and would, like the Galen Herd thing, or the other ones, and it's like, have some and I'm not talking about, it's been like a month, or it's been like 3 weeks. This is like the next day.
30 days.
It aired 10 hours ago. It's like, okay, I was asleep for 8 of those. I haven't seen that episode yet.
Yeah, that's exactly the same thing with like Game of Thrones over here, because it airs it airs at like 1 o'clock in the morning over here, and then they re-show it at 9 o'clock at night as well. So if people, that's like the biggest one for me, is that if people stay up and watch it at 1 a.m. they're posting like stuff straight after, and it may not be exclusively spoilers, but it's stuff alluding to the show. And it's like you wake up at 7 o'clock and you see like, oh my god, Game of Thrones is awesome, such and such, this happened. So I don't want to see that. I've not had chance to see that, because, as you said, I've been asleep for most of the time the show's been on.
The other thing that irks me about it also is I get the leaks. Like, I get people who send me pictures of the leaks, and like, I don't want to see that. They'll send me pictures of like on location leaks of them doing, of pictures, and I mean, like, I don't want to see it because I don't want it to be ruined, right? So, but what are you gonna do? So we better.
Sorry, can I just share my gripe with Twitter, because I had it. Do either of you guys watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
No, I was talking about this to Pat. Go ahead.
Oh, it's my guilty pleasure. I love the show, and I'd watched it all season. Like, me and my friends were having viewing parties. Like, we'd go around and watch it, and it's just like the best show ever. And all season, I'd avoided spoilers for everything. And then on Thursday, it was the live final. And I thought, I'll be fine. I've never seen a spoiler. I won't mute anything. I'll be safe. I'll be perfectly fine. I wake up Friday morning, go to check Twitter, think, just to be safe, I'll go and mute some words just in case it gets spoiled. And then, bam, somebody who's never posted about the show before posts the winner, and there's a picture of the winner of the show. And I was like, man. It's like,
So it's a competition? See, I don't even know anything about it. It's a competition show?
It's kind of like America's Next Top Model with drag queens, pretty much. Wow. Is the easiest way to sum it up. But it's amazing. Honestly, you should watch it. I went into it just not knowing what to expect, but I fell in love with it. It is just amazing. It's unreal.
Jamie, I was going to say, so after the Facebook one, we were going to talk about Doctor Strange. The sequel is happening. So what's going on with that?
Not much at the moment. It's been Doctor Strange is one of those that they've kept their cards quite close to the chest with Doctor Strange 2. They haven't really revealed too much. Obviously, it's been speculated for a while that a second one was going to happen because the first one was so well received. And it's just basically been, I think Kevin Feige, the top dog at Marvel's, kind of been doing a lot of interviews recently, and he just kind of let it out there. He's like, oh yeah, like if we do make a Doctor Strange 2, which we are going to do at some point in the future, it is going to be set a little bit further in the future than what we kind of know of the Avengers now. So yeah, he didn't really give too much away. He's quite cryptic. He did say that maybe Doctor Strange will pop up in other places before he gets his own sequel. So yeah, not really too much to report there. It's just other than it is happening.
Okay. Well, how many other movies has he been? How many other movies has he been in besides I know he was in Thor.
Yeah, and then
what else has he been? Infinity War, which you've seen.
Yeah.
Was he in Infinity War? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's in the advertising, so it's not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
He's in the commercials. So
yeah, the whole team is there, right?
Yeah, he is in.
And he's in Thor Ragnarok. Because I saw that.
Yeah, he's got
He's got a little cameo.
Yeah.
But I have to say that was one of my favorite Marvel movies. I loved it.
Which one? Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange,
the first one? Oh yeah, it was excellent.
The original.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. And I loved Thor Ragnarok and then Black Panther. Those are probably my three favorite. I know everyone loves I never okay, you're gonna kill me when I say this. I fell asleep during which one was it? I fell asleep during Tony Stark one. Iron Man.
Iron Man?
Yeah.
The first one?
No, not the first one. The first one I thought was okay. It was pretty good. Yeah. But I have this thing when I'm watching some of the Marvel movies, like my eyes kind of glaze over sometimes because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck everyone's talking about. Like I put up a tweet the other day and I'm like, who is this character? I don't even know who he is. And someone's like, you don't know who that is? And then I thought maybe I hadn't seen the movie. Maybe I just completely missed it. But I just find there's like a lot of info dumping going on. And sometimes I just can't follow it. Maybe it's because I'm not a comic book fan. This is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, well, I love no, I didn't roll my eyes at you. I was thinking. Sometimes I do it. Like I'll look up and think. No, I wasn't rolling my eyes. If anything, yeah, I agree. Sometimes it can get very, very dense.
It was Bucky. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Who is this guy?
Yeah, well, I guess he was important in the first Captain America, but but he's also, in fairness, I do know a lot of people that sort of had that same issue where they were aware of him, but they're like, really, is that guy? Okay, I didn't realize he was such a major player going into. Yeah,
he's the what's his alter ego? What's his other character?
Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier. I'm like, who the hell is this Winter Soldier guy? Who is this? Am I missing something? I'm like, I think I missed an entire movie. And it's possible that I did. It's possible, but I know with Thor, not Thor, the other one, Iron Man. And actually, it's funny because when I do face painting, which I do sometimes, kids always want me to do Iron Man. It's like one of the most popular, that and Captain America. So I kind of know them, but like the second or third one, I was just like, this is so tiring. Like I can't even watch this.
Like I said, it can get very dense, especially now that like by the time we're at Infinity War, and a lot of people
that got mixed reviews.
It got mixed reviews, but because it's very dependent on its lore. Like you pretty much cannot go into that cold and expect to get. I mean, you probably follow the story fine, but so much will be lost because who's this guy? Why are we now over here? And now this is happening. No, now we're over there now. And now, here's a whole new brand new set of characters.
Well, maybe that's why I liked Thor Ragnarok. Because when I saw Thor Ragnarok, I'm like, you could go watch that movie and have never watched any Marvel movie, have never read a comic book in your life, and would be able to get that movie. You would.
Yeah.
Like you could be dumb as a bag of nails and probably be able to get that movie. No, I'm not saying it's for a stupid person. I'm just saying it's it could be a standalone movie, and it's funny as well. And humor always helps, I think, tell the story sometimes.
And that's one of the things I think that they just sort of conceded the Marvel and the MCU. They just said, "Yeah, this Infinity War is just going to be that movie where it's a linchpin film. You have to have seen at least some of the preceding films to at least know who the characters are, even if you don't know every single plot thread that's touched on." So yeah, I think they just.
But one of the lines in Thor that I thought was so brilliant was when he's in the. Sorry if there's any spoilers on this, guys. When he's in, when he's in the dragon pit, the gladiator pit.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then so and so shows up, and he goes, "Oh, it's okay, we're friends from work."
That's in the ad, yeah.
In the ad, it's in the ad, so
it's in the trailer. So it's
in the trailer, yeah. So when he shows up, "We're friends from work," so you're kind of like, even if you've never seen any of the other movies, you go, "Oh, they have a connection, they have a past together."
Yeah, there are ways you can, obviously you can do that in a screenplay, but yeah, if they tried to do that, I think with they could get away with it somewhat with the first Avengers because there were fewer threads.
Yeah.
There's only 4 or 5 major story threads going into that movie with the characters, like their origin movies. Whereas, Infinity War, because so much has happened, they're just like, we're not even going to bother doing this. And is that the right way to do it? Is it the wrong way to do it? I don't know. Yeah, you're not going to get Thor Ragnarok. Yet the movie would have to be another 2 hours in order to explain each of those. Where Doctor Strange came from, where the Guardians of the Galaxy came from, where what Tony Stark's been up to, what Spider-Man's been up. Like all those characters have 2 or 3 movies.
But the other thing that I thought was great, and sorry, Jamie, I know if you want to come into this,
jump right in. Sorry.
In Thor, the other thing I thought was great was, for instance, when they did the scene where they had like Matt Damon playing Loki, and then they had was he playing Thor, and they did the little play within a play, and it was perfect because it just sort of told like the relationships between the characters, and then of course you have Loki is playing. Oh, sorry, I don't want to say any spoilers, but yeah, I just love that. I love the idea of how it's sort of like Game of Thrones when they do the play about King's Landing and about the battle of the War of the Five Kings, and they just do it in a play form. It was just I just thought it was a really
Ned's beheading in that too as well.
I remember Arya. I don't know if they have Ned's beheading. Well, no,
there's something about it because Arya's watching it.
No, they do. Yeah,
she's affected by seeing.
Yeah, she's affected by seeing her father being beheaded.
Yeah,
they do sort of like it's almost like a what do they call it? Just a redux. What do they call it? Like a mini recap.
It's just a recap.
A recap of all the major events. So I just thought I think that's a pretty clever way to do it. And so I thought that's what I was saying. I was like, okay, so what's the deal? You're like, what's the deal between Loki and Thor? You're like, oh, here it is in a plane, and of course then and then what's going on with his father, and you get just sort of like a little here, let's just do a quick little analysis of what happened in the other
individual ones. They're good. They're great at doing that. Like Marvel
they
really does have a kind of a system and a template, I guess, for their storytelling. But like I said, I think they probably felt if they tried to do that with each of even the major players in the Infinity War, they probably felt, this is going to add another 45 minutes to our movie, and it's already running long, and it's it's only the first of 2 parts, and blah blah blah. So that's probably why they didn't do that. But so they just said, we're going all in with the chips, and you've already either seen it or you don't, and if you haven't, you're probably going to get lost. But we've got to keep this train moving. We're laying the track as the train is moving. We don't have time to stop and recap. That's my thought is probably why.
And I think Marvel, I mean, honestly, they get things right more than they get things
wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think that was wrong. I think it was just a choice. They chose to leave the non or the super casual fans behind. It's like, the movies are out there. Go watch them. We're not stopping you from catching up. We got
to do this.
In order to, we have built up so much to put this peak on the top of the story at this level of the story. This is what we have to do.
Well, and Jamie, I don't know if you've watched any of the Marvel, like on Netflix Marvel, but I tried, like I watched the individual ones. My favorite one is Jessica Jones. It's really great. But then I tried to watch the, what is it? They had the 5 of them together.
The Defenders.
It was, I'm sorry. It was terrible. It was so bad. Did you see that?
I've seen all of them. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I'm working my way through the new Luke Cage, which just came out over
I've seen the first 2 seasons of Luke Cage. Just season 3 out? of Luke Cage, or season 2?
Season 2 is out.
Season 2
because he started in Jessica Jones.
Yeah, he started in Jessica Jones.
He was in a handful of episodes there, and then they're all interconnected. Like that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
Defenders, it was a little uneven. I view it.
Well, Iron Fist, that one just didn't, go with like
Iron Fist. Yeah, not a lot of people connect with that. I thought it was fine. It didn't blow my mind, but I was just like, okay, it's a fun, 12 or 13 episodes. It was fine. Like I got through the story. I knew I probably have to know some of this at least going into the Defenders, because by that point they had made sort of the marketing known that this is mini Avengers. This is the sort of New York Avengers light. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but Jessica Jones, I think for me, I do like Luke Cage. I was upset that they killed off one of the characters on that, who I thought was fantastic. And so I don't know what's going to be.
We won't say who.
I'm not going to say anybody. Yeah, he's a great actor, though. He's.
Sorry, Jamie, we're just rambling here.
Okay, so Doctor Strange.
I've only seen season 1. I've only seen season 1 of Daredevil, so I'm like so far behind.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll find out more about Doctor Strange, Jamie. You'll know more, and you'll do an update video on that. Oh, and I wanted to say, while we're in the, if anybody's still in the chat here, that I have put Jamie's links in the description. So both his YouTube channel is there if you guys want to go check it out, and it's really awesome. And how often do you do videos, Jamie? Like once a week? A new video?
No, it's like slowly becoming once a day.
Oh my God, you're daily.
I know.
Holy cow.
I know.
Yeah. You've just grown so much since I've met you,
They grow up so fast.
They grow up so fast.
I'm just old and jaded now to YouTubers.
So, okay, so you're doing almost daily now. That's amazing. So, and then also I've got your Twitter there as well. So if anybody wants to find you on Twitter, if they have any questions and stuff like that, they can ask.
I'm on the big old push to. Yeah, I'm on the big old push to 300 subscribers.
The big old what?
The big old push to 300 subscribers. That's
the big push.
Goal at the minute.
We gotta get you there.
The big push.
So everyone go over to Jamie's channel and subscribe. He's a really great movie reviewer, and he's a lovely lad. Do they call you lad over in Wales like that?
Yeah, that's more of like a Scouse thing, but you get lad.
Is it bloke? What's a Welsh?
No, lad's probably lad's more fitting. I think
Chap.
Lad.
Chap. What's a Welsh name for?
Chap's in English. I know that.
Yeah. What's it? Oh, now Jamie, before we move on, I have a very important question to ask you.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay, have you seen Mamma Mia yet? Or maybe it's not out yet.
No, it's not out yet. But every
Jamie is a huge fan of Mamma Mia. He's been trying to make me to go see it, which I told him I refused. I would go.
Proportion. Let's not blow this out of proportion. But Mamma Mia is one of the greatest musical films ever to exist. Just purely for Pierce Brosnan, Stellan Skarsgård, and Colin Firth singing. I will fight anybody that says
it's so strange to see Stellan Skarsgård in that, and then him being the girl with the dragon tattoo, like it's or what's that other one he's in? It's just Exotica or whatever it's called. Is it Exotica?
It's the son that plays Pennywise.
Or Erotica? What's the movie called? It's like it's a very strange sort of erotic kind of movie. That's a Swedish erotic movie. And then after I saw him in that, I could just never look at him the same. So it's sort of strange that he's in Mamma Mia.
Well, and his son is Pennywise too.
And his son is Pennywise. And of course, his other son is Alexander Skarsgård, who is from True Blood. Yeah. We love Eric. I'm a big fan of Eric. And Justin Thomas is in here. He's a huge fan of True Blood as well. He's not here right now, but hopefully I'm going to have him on next week. Anyway,
I still haven't seen the last season of that yet. So
Jamie's a huge fan of Mamma Mia, and he is dying to see Mamma Mia too.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot.
Yeah.
So excited.
You should have you should get a bunch of your friends together. And now, is it set in Greece this time, Jamie?
Oh, I think it is. I think it's the
I
same
can't even talk about this seriously.
Come on, please. You've had me on the show twice now. You know, let's not be messing around.
So it's not a darker, grittier reboot or anything?
It's not a darker, gritty. Actually, that would be good if they made it a darker, gritty.
How amazing would that be?
That would be good.
Like a real, slow, like James Bond
Streets of Athens.
Yeah, and then Meryl Streep would be, knocked off, or like pushed off an island or something.
I think she's already dead.
Is she dead?
I think she's dead in the second one. She's not been in any of the trailers.
I thought it was a prequel.
Oh wait, maybe that's come on! It's a sequel prequel. It flitters between it flitters between real life, and then it goes back to like the 60s or whatever, and shows you how those
young kids, those young strapping lads got together, and girls or birds, as they would say.
Did they recast the whole thing, or
I think they have a young cast play a young cast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like two. I think. Sorry, this is it's really irking me that Meryl Streep's not in any of the trailers because Amanda Seyfried's back. They're like Meryl Streep's two buddies are back.
Well, you know, Amanda Seyfried, she hasn't aged at all. I just saw her in a movie. It was actually a Netflix original, which was not bad. Called, was it Ark? I can't remember what it was called. It was a dystopian future story. And I'm like, does this girl age at all? She looked exactly the same. She could basically play the same character.
I remember her from Veronica Mars.
From Veronica Mars.
She has not back to
she has not changed at all, Jamie. Amanda Seyfried. Seyfried, or whatever her name is. I'm terrible with names, as you all know.
I think it's Seyfried.
Seyfried.
I think. Yeah, I'd say
I've never been correct.
Okay, so we were talking about Marvel. Let's turn a little bit and talk about DC. Okay, so one of my I love Kate Hawley. She's a wonderful costume designer. She did the costumes for Suicide Squad. And one of my least favorite costumes of all time is in that movie. But they're talking about doing a Joker spinoff movie. What do you know about that, Jamie?
It changes by the hour. They're talking about doing several Joker spin-off movies. There's like so many in the works. So there's
is it Jared Leto though? Who is it?
There's one that's possibly rumored to be Jared Leto. There's one that's supposed to be like a Joker origin story, which will be Joaquin Phoenix, and apparently Martin Scorsese's.
Oh my God, that sounds good. That actually sounds good.
I know I'm very excited for that one. I think that's going to be like. From what I've seen, it may be like the closest origin story is the Killing Joke. Is it? No, it's not the Killing Joke. What's the one when he's the Red Hood, and that's how he turns into the Joker? I think that's the story they're going to be telling. Which, if anyone's not read that graphic, the story of that, I can't remember what it's called at this moment in time. But that's the best, like one of the best Batman comics is finding out how the Joker became the Joker. There's another one that they're going to do with Jared Leto, but I can't remember really too much about that. It was just kind of. They're just trying to throw as much Joker at us as they can, I think.
Well, what did you think of his performance in Suicide Squad?
I thought I don't know. He wasn't very good, was he? Have you seen the Honest trailer for it? For Suicide Squad?
No, I should watch that. I love. Have you watched any of the Honest trailers?
I've seen some of them.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
they reference that he sounds. They say that Jared Leto's Joker's performance is a mix between Ace Ventura and a cat. And I just can't get I just keep imagining like the Joker as Ace Ventura, so I just can't take it seriously anymore.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're going to do it with Joaquin Phoenix because he's a bit older. So, but I think the Joker. I don't know. Like, how old was Caesar? Romero. I don't know how old the Joker is supposed to be, and then of course Jack Nicholson. So yeah, maybe he's in his 40s. I think Joaquin Phoenix has got to be in his early 40s.
I think it's around that. As I say, I don't know. There's not been much detail given away, so maybe they're gonna do like a jagged, old, haggard. I don't know, Joker.
Yeah. Now, I didn't see this on your channel. Is there a Wonder Woman sequel on the way? Do you know?
There is.
Oh, you know this. Okay. I'm really excited to see that. I love Wonder Woman. As the DC, that was probably my most favorite, and probably most people, of the recent DC movies.
It's the one that's, I think, the most universally acclaimed.
Universally acclaimed, yeah.
Like nobody, I think, really had any issue
with
that. There were no production problems. There was very little studio,
and the casting,
little to no studio interference.
And the girl who plays her is amazing.
Gal Gadot,
and the costumes were great. I love the costumes.
But yeah, I think, and that's widely held as basically kind of purest one, like the one that had like no problems, but also the one, because of that, it's kind of the thing that's keeping DC afloat. Like they're sort of the DC universe, whatever you want to call it, because they're trying to do the same thing the MCU did, and have been hit or miss. And that one was a grand slam.
Spider-Man wasn't been too bad though, right?
Spider-Man's MCU, though.
Oh, it is MCU.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
So we're talking Dark Knight, or not Dark Knight, but the Batman movies, the Superman movies, the Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League. So of all of those, and Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman is, so far like critically acclaimed. Box office numbers are all there. If it had failed and then you had Justice League fail,
we got Ben Affleck,
what would have happened. Right? I mean, you still have Aquaman coming. So who knows
that's true. Aquaman, with Jason Momoa.
It's shot. It's in the can. So
We'll
sorry, Jamie. I'm rambling.
See what happens there.
What are your thoughts?
So are you excited for a Wonder Woman sequel?
I just give. I know. I thought so.
It's almost 1 in the morning for Jamie, by the way, just so everyone knows. Jamie is,
and it's not that. It's just I'm so drained.
It's hot there.
DC universe.
Oh, you're drained of it.
It is so hot.
Yeah.
Just the DC universe is just. It's just. I don't.
I agree with that. I mean that movie obviously is fantastic. But
it's really a standalone movie too.
I thought Man of Steel was fine. I enjoyed the director's cut or whatever.
It's weird because Henry Cavill is he's a pretty good actor. I've seen him in other things. I loved him in have you guys seen A Man Called Uncle? Is it A Man Called Uncle?
Yes, I have seen the remake of
the remake. It was so good, and Henry Cavill is in that, and he's great. And then of course he was in The Tudors. He's a really good actor, and I think actually he's a better actor than, dare I say, Ben Affleck. But I think Ben Affleck is just too old, and I don't know.
I thought Ben Affleck's version of Batman in Batman versus Superman. That I thought that was one of the best portrayals of Batman.
I think so too.
I've heard it said. I think it was John Campea. If you don't watch John Campea, he's great.
Is he a YouTuber?
Yes. Okay. So look him up.
Check him out. We'll check him out.
But he's I don't know him. He's from Hamilton, lives in California. But anyway, he I watch his YouTube shows a lot, and he described it very accurately, and I agree. That for all the other sort of Batman portrayals, as great as many of them are, Michael Keaton, etc., that in those cases it was always Batman. Bruce Wayne is a secret identity. Batman is he dons the outfit, becomes Batman, goes off and fights crime. What Ben Affleck brought to it was Bruce Wayne is the secret identity. Batman is who he really is inside. So Bruce Wayne is the mask. This is how John Campea described it. And he was when he said that, it clicked. And I was like, yes, that's exactly why I enjoyed that performance so much. And I think he was spot on.
But he's also, I mean, he's going up against you guys know I have terrible memory. Christian Bale. I mean, he's going up against that comparison, right?
And I mean, Bale, you have Michael Keaton,
and then Christopher Nolan, directing, so it's a lot to live up to. So I mean, but he also had a sort of a failed turn as that other suit, Red Devil. Like that movie didn't do well for him either. Do you guys remember that? Daredevil? Yeah. Do you guys remember that? Ben Affleck playing Daredevil. So
now the MCU one, the one that's on of Daredevil,
that's pretty good.
That was excellent.
Yeah, it's really good.
The one that's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really good.
That's the only show I've seen is the first season of that.
Yeah.
Daredevil, and you liked it?
Yeah.
The production quality on those shows, TV shows, is actually really good. I haven't watched
movie quality.
I haven't watched Gotham. I know a lot of people like Gotham. So we're seeing some really, higher level quality of TV.
Gotham, I've seen the first 2.5, maybe the first 3 seasons, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's comic booky.
For Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., those shows. I mean, the quality is much like, I mean, one of my favorite shows years ago was Heroes, and that was sort of like the first of like, the comic book character, but it was an original comic book character. And it launched some, careers of some people, actually who went on to do quite well. But unfortunately there was a writer's strike, like right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what sort of put the knife into it. But, I think like, and then with Marvel, their studios, they've been able to sort of go into the TV, go into the movie, and do
they're
quite well.
Casting a wide net. Yeah,
they're casting a wide net.
Not everything,
they got money.
Not everything, works. They've had. Oh
yeah.
I don't know, Jamie. Have you seen Inhumans? Did you see like the 8?
I didn't. I heard arc? It was terrible.
Yeah,
Jamie, have you seen it?
No, I haven't. But weirdly enough, the first episode of that got a cinema release over here in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah, so they went all in with it, and then after that, it was like, here's the first episode, it's amazing, and then after that, there was just nothing, and I think it didn't even air over here in the end. I think it was just like a one and done type thing because I heard it was terrible.
It was. Yeah. It was just not. Yeah.
On Ramsay Snow,
there was so much. Yeah, he's in
Ramsay Snow.
There's so much. On paper, I can see how it would have looked like, okay, we were doing all these other kind of lesser known, like who knew Guardians of the Galaxy, casual, beyond comic book fans, casual fans knew of them. So, here is a less known title. Let's adapt it.
It's
everything we're doing is, I can see why Marvel went in that direction, but just the script weren't very good. And I can get, past that. It doesn't obviously make it good, but I can get past that if everything else looks good. As you say, Gotham looks fantastic. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., production values are all there. They just were not there. Like it looked like backyard video camera.
I saw some of the designs too, the costume designs, the wigs and stuff.
And the lighting.
Yeah.
And
I know it was all wrong.
Nothing in it worked. It just looked. There's one or two good performances. I like the main character, the main male character. I can't think of his name, but he's on Hell on Wheels. He's fantastic on Hell on Wheels. I
don't think it was TV show. I don't think it was the cast's fault.
No, but he's totally underused because his character doesn't speak. His character can't speak, so everything he's doing is gestures and looks, and he's good at that. But it's like, I just got finished watching 5 odd seasons of Hell on Wheels, and he's just fantastic in that. And going back to what we were saying at the very beginning, underutilized actors, these performers giving these roles where they just are handcuffed in many ways in their craft. That was, you're not missing anything by not seeing Inhumans. It's
exactly.
But if you want to see just how sort of terrible a backfire, whatever, just nothing was good in that. Like, you can't even just put it on and say, well, at least it looked good. No, just the design aesthetic was just garish. Sorry,
I didn't even give it a chance. I saw the early reviews and I'm like, nope. I mean, we've been watching Legion, which, I mean, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. Jack's ahead of me on it, but it's like Westworld. It's kind of like Westworld. There's so many like flashbacks and flash forwards and multi-layers, and I got to the point where I'm like, it's just so confusing. And he's kind of a lesser known character, I think, as well.
Right.
He's supposed to be Xavier's son.
Right.
But it's an amazing cast. The cast is brilliant. Like Jerome, the New Zealand actor who is from the TV show, the movie about where they play vampires.
Oh yeah.
He's in it. He's friends with the guy who directed Thor.
Right.
So and the guy from
Taika Waititi.
How do you say his name?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. Yeah, I love
might
him.
Correct me on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
I don't know if anybody
What
hasn't
We Do
seen
in the Dark.
What We Do in the Dark. Oh my God! If you guys haven't seen it, you have to see it. It's on Netflix. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And they're talking about making it into a TV show.
It would. I can see that working.
It's basically a story about
done a certain way, done with restraint.
It's like a Spinal Tap kind of thing, I think,
Yeah.
where it's supposed to be like a documentary about these vampires, these 4 guys, but
So
basically
good.
they're like roommates, you know, and they fight over things like who's doing the dishes. And so it's these 2 New Zealand guys, and they're from like Flight of the Conchords. That's their comedy troupe. I think.
A couple of the Flight of the Conchords guys.
Yeah, and then one of them is their friend. Like they're all friends, right? And so now and it's funny because I saw like a promo that they did, Taika Waititi and Jerome, where they were like trying to get financing for the movie to get an international release.
Oh, wow.
So it was really funny because it was before Taika was like pretty famous. Like he's really famous now because of Thor. Anyway, so Jamie, we have just one more thing to talk about and then we'll sign up because it's like 1 a.m. for you and you're probably sleepy. So the last thing, and I brought, okay, so you were telling me I brought this to your attention. So I was mentioning earlier that my son is a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. And is that a dog?
I know, I thought I could hear it.
Can you hear a dog? Is that at your place?
Yeah, it is. I thought they were asleep.
Who let the woke up? Yeah. That's weird.
Were you gonna say who let the dogs out then?
No, I wasn't going to. I was like, that's terrible. I can't even say that. I was going to, but I'm like, no, I will not say that. That's awful. That's a terrible.
I'm more worried who woke the dogs up. I hope it's not like a serial killer because it's quite dark in this house now.
Maybe, yeah. So maybe some drunk guys came home and tripped over a hedge.
I
know. But anyway, so the last thing was, so they're doing a Sonic the Hedgehog movie apparently, and you looked into it. So Jim Carrey is being tapped to play Robotnik, who is or Eggman, Leland always calls him. So what did you learn about that?
Yeah, just basically pretty much that. There's not much to the story at the minute. He's in talks with Paramount to basically play Dr. Eggman. I didn't know he had 2 names either. Who knew his name was Dr. Eggman Robotic? Who knew?
Well, I only know this because Leland, we've read a lot of the comics, and I think depending on what version of the comic is, like maybe later incarnations of the character, he originally was called Eggman, and then later he was Dr. Robotnik. So if I'm wrong by that, I apologize. But my son, he's really into the games, and because I think what's happened is, I guess Leland, my son, he started buying like the older systems. Like he goes to these junk shops. Yeah, like he goes and buys these retro systems, and then he'll go online and then buy the games. And so he's like, this is sort of his new thing. So he's like, I gotta get this new Sonic game. They have it across town. I gotta go. It's only 13 kilometers. Can we go there? Like, it's so funny.
Walking, kid.
And like it got a game. It was like $80 for this retro game. Like seriously. But Jack talked him down or whatever. So anyway, and I'm like, well, it's his money. It's his YouTube money. He has his own channel. I think I told you that, Jamie, right? That my son has a YouTube channel. So he takes his YouTube money and he spends it on retro games. But my attitude is like he can later sell them again, if he wants to. So anyway, so I said to him, what do you think about Jim Carrey, being in this, he's like, oh, I don't know. Hopefully they don't ruin it, He was a little bit worried about it, but I don't know. I was kind of excited about it. I think that would be kind of cool if they do a good job.
Yeah, as I said to you earlier on, like after you brought it to my attention, the first thing I thought about was, let's reincarnate and basically just rehash his performance in is it Batman Forever, where he plays the Riddler? Yeah, like, just really camp, really over the top, and I think that's what if they go into it and like kind of create the character that way, then I think it could be brilliant. But as you say, it depends.
Or even in Dr. Seuss, like when he plays the Grinch, or he plays. He's a bad guy in what is it? The one about
Cable Guy.
Oh, no, he's a bad guy in the Cable Guy. No, another kind of cartoon villain.
A series of unfortunate events.
Lemony Snicket.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Haven't seen
so he's sort of like, that cartoon villain. But that's kind of what Robotnik is. So he's kind of a cartoon villain, literally. Yeah. And then, but you said James, and then James Marsden's in it from Westworld. So I thought that was, but you said he played like a human character, not a. So it'd be interesting to find out who plays Sonic.
They haven't announced yet who's like the voice of Sonic or anything like that.
So that will be animated then, though, right?
I believe so. It's really weird because they're being like really secretive with it, but all at the same time like really pushing ahead because they only like announced this movie like January time, but already they've already got like a director. I think Tim Miller from Deadpool's producing it. They've cast like the 2 leads. I said James Marsden is going to play a cop who befriends Sonic the Hedgehog, which if you're not sold from that synopsis already, then I don't know. And then there's another girl, and I can't remember her name. She is it Tika Sumpter? Tika Stumpter? She was in Ride Along. But she's like been cast as the female lead as well, and so now they've got Jim Carrey.
What's Ride Along? What's that?
Was that not the Ice Cube and like Kevin Hart movie?
What is it?
And it was like a comedy a few years ago.
Ride Along, yeah.
Oh, Ride Along.
I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's. I haven't seen it, but I think that's.
If she's a hot up and coming actor, I probably wouldn't know her.
Yeah, no, I didn't recognize her when I googled her. So you say.
I mean, we know Jim Carrey because he's from Toronto. That's why we know, right? Yeah, we're in Toronto.
It's like we were saying before. He's from tomorrow. Obviously, you know him. He's your best friend.
Yes. No, we don't know. Yeah. No, we actually don't know him. No, we don't know.
I don't know him.
No, we don't know.
Shattering the illusion.
Yeah, I know. I've met Rachel McAdams. She's from St. Thomas, Ontario, but I've met her in Toronto a couple of times, so I know her.
What was she like? Was she nice?
She's lovely. She's very nice. Yeah.
She's good in Doctor Strange.
And she's very good in Doctor Strange.
And Sherlock Holmes.
Actually, oh, you want to see a really great movie, guys, is a Game Night. She's in that. I was
just going to say she's amazing in that movie.
Have you seen that?
I've not.
Jack and I just watched it. It is fantastic. Like, it's such a fun movie. I loved it.
It's so great.
Yeah, and she's really good at it. She's actually really funny in that. Because she was in Spotlight, which was great. And I thought she did an amazing job. And we have a lot of really good Canadian actors. And I've made jokes about this before that we're going to take them back now with the tariffs. We're going to take back our Canadian actors. Although I said they could keep Samantha Bee. No, I've met Samantha Bee, actually. I don't know if you know who she is, Jamie.
They can keep Bieber.
They can keep Justin Bieber. No, actually, Samantha Bee. It's funny with Samantha Bee. I worked with her, and we went to theater school with her husband. I you know that? Do you know who Samantha Bee is?
I do know who Samantha Bee is.
Jason's her husband, and he used to be on the Jon Stewart show.
Yeah. Oh no, she was on Jon Stewart. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, years ago, I was working at a restaurant, and Samantha worked there with me. She was a waitress there. Oh. Yeah. So she's actually nothing like her character online. Her character on TV. She's nothing like that. She's actually very serious. She's not like goofball funny like that. She's actually a pretty straight, serious person. Now, this is what I find a lot of people. And Rachel's just very kind of quiet, but very sweet. You know, very sweet and quiet. But I find a lot of these people. I met Ryan Gosling as well, because he's from St. Thomas as well. He's from the same town Rachel McAdams is from, and they were born in the same hospital, and so they were dating for a while. And I was at a party that she was at, and she brought Ryan to the party, and he was really nice, actually, really nice guy.
He does seem like I'm glad he's a nice guy. I said this to you when you said about when you met Adam Sandler last time. So I just want celebrities to be nice. I just don't want them to be.
I haven't met anybody who's been an asshole. The one person, I did a movie with William Shatner, and I didn't have this experience with him, but apparently he could be kind of curmudgeon-y.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that from fans who met him at conventions.
I didn't personally have any, and I found him fine. Like, I didn't personally have any issues with him, but and William Shatner's from Canada as well.
Montreal, yes.
Montreal, and my uncle did a play with him
back in the day.
Back in the day, back in like the 40s. Yeah,
he started on stage.
He was a theater actor in Montreal, and my uncle did a play with him in Montreal. And then William Shatner went on to Stratford, which is, if anybody doesn't know this, is our big festival we have. It's a couple hours away from here. It's an international festival. It's one of the most famous Shakespeare festivals in North America. So there we've gone on and on about Canada, but we can go on about Canada because tomorrow's Canada Day, and it's going to be our 51 anniversary, 151st, and then the tariffs will come out at the same time. Sorry, U.S. Jamie, if you don't know this, we're having a big trade war with the United States.
Guess who started it?
Guess who started the trade war?
I wonder.
Yeah, so we can't buy any U.S. goods right now.
I'm gonna be traveling the States in a month. Yeah. So I don't think I'm gonna buy much of anything.
Well, the exchange rate is bad anyway, so you wouldn't be able to afford much.
Yeah.
You know, so
the irony being, it's good for my books.
It's good because you're making U.S. dollars.
The U.S. dollars.
Yeah,
when the U.S. dollar,
true.
when there's when that margin is high,
it's
like I feel bad for traveling and travelers, but I'm like also book sales. It's a few extra pennies $1. So
everybody go to Amazon now and buy Pat's books. We'll put a link down.
Well, you should always
put a link
in
the description.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a link in the description for that as well.
Yeah.
To his Amazon account. So Jamie, okay, so we're gonna wrap up shortly, guys. But Jamie, why don't you tell everybody what you have coming up? And I'm going to ask Anna, are you watching The Expanse? Pretty Dark is asking. Jamie, you don't watch The Expanse, do you?
No, I've never heard of it, to be honest with you.
It's a big show in North America. I am personally watching The Expanse. Are you watching The Expanse, Patrick? I
am not.
I watch it. Actually, we were talking about who's the guy? The Adam, the YouTuber. What's his name again? The one who tried to recreate Chewbacca.
Oh, Adam Savage. Yeah.
Adam Savage is a huge fan of The Expanse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's shot in Toronto, actually. It's funny because I was watching an episode of it and I saw my ex-boyfriend in it. I'm like, hey, there's my ex-boyfriend. That's kind of cool. And then I called him up and I'm like, hey, I saw you in The Expanse. What were you doing there? So that was kind of cool. He was playing one of the Belters. But because a lot of it's shot in Toronto. And actually, so Jack, I think, has finished it, but I think I've only watched 2 or 3 of the latest seasons. So yes. Well, anybody who knows me and knows Patrick now will know that we're huge sci-fi fans.
Yes.
So
total nerds.
We're total nerds. Yeah.
Just reading some of the comments here.
Yeah. Do you want to read some of the comments, Patrick?
Sure. So Tatiana says, quick, I adore Man from U.N.C.L.E. I think it's tragically underrated. I agree.
Yeah, it was great. And what's his name's in it too? Army Hammer.
Yeah.
Army Hammer. I'm a big fan of Army Hammer.
She also adds, also loved Gotham, but I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then further down, Pretty Dark replies with, last season of S.H.I.E.L.D. Has been so good.
Oh, okay.
I haven't caught up on the last season. I think I'm about a season behind.
Hi, Pretty Dark. We didn't say hi to you, by the way. She came in late. And Angel O'Lover is here, too. She had said, what did she say? Writer's strike killed a lot of good shows. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she said Man from U.N.C.L.E. when I was trying to remember what it was called. Aquaman should be coming out soon, too, right? Yeah. So we were saying that, Jamie. Aquaman's coming out shortly.
Yeah, I think is it end of this year, I think.
Yeah, December, I
want to say.
Yeah. December. Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
I think it looks pretty cool because it's kind of like a Man from Atlantis type thing. Like there's an underworld. Yeah. There's like a cool underworld that they've sort of built and developed. So that'll be really interesting to see how that works. Althea, this is for you, Jamie. This is for you. Althea says, I like musicals a lot. I mean, a lot. And I love movie musicals. I really honestly hate Mamma Mia. Unpopular opinion, I know, mostly because I'm not a fan of ABBA's music. Sorry. Oh, Jamie, it's okay.
Oh, I thought this live stream had gone pretty well. But
until now,
change my opinion. I don't think I'm.
Yeah, that's just destroyed.
Don't ask me to come back on ever again.
The goodwill is
so over. Althea.
Oh, Pretty Dark says hi. I did join late. She came late, but I did see you there. So Jamie, sorry. Interrupted you again. It's hard when there's I feel kind of like Patrick and I are like ganging up on you. So
no, go for it. To be honest, I've just enjoyed like sitting listening to you two. It's been nice.
Oh God. So Jamie, tell us what you have coming up though on your show. What we should be looking forward to.
Good question. More movie news as always, as and when it happens. But living in the UK, it's always a bit of a nightmare because like all of the good news breaks while I'm just about to go to bed, so it's like I have to wait until the morning. So it's always nice to catch stuff. So yeah, it's basically movie news more or less every day of the week now. Movie review wise, I think I'm going to go and see Tag. Have either of you guys seen that?
Oh, what's it called?
Jeremy Renner's new movie where Tag.
Tag.
It's like
Tag.
Yeah,
it's
like
anybody Jeremy Renner, I am there. I love Jeremy Renner.
And the guy from Mad Men, whose name is John Hamm.
Oh, and John Hamm. Oh, yeah, yes, that movie. Yeah. Oh, that's a comedy, right? It's about these grown-up men who've been playing tag for years.
30 years or
30
something.
years. Yeah. It's like hardcore.
I wasn't sold on this. But like I wasn't sold on this movie, but apparently it's so ridiculous that it works, like, and it's hilarious. So yeah, that just got released over here in the UK like yesterday. So
Okay, so you're going to go see that. So we're looking forward to a review on that from you.
Yeah, I kind of put it in the. I haven't seen it yet, but I kind of put it. Yeah. Seeing the ads sort of in the Hangover.
Yeah, the Hangover category.
Kind of silly guys being, you know, kind of goofy and childish, but funny.
Speaking of the Hangover, just sorry, a quick little side note. If anybody, do you guys watch Between Two Ferns with Galifianakis? He has a new one. He has a new one with Jerry Seinfeld. It's hilarious, where Jerry Seinfeld sort of bugs him about the Hangover movies. But no, it's really good. If you have to check it out. So I'm going to check out the Screen Rant or what is it? Honest Trailers of
Honest Trailers.
Yeah, I'll check out that latest one or no, it's not a latest one. It probably would have been from a year or so ago, right? Yeah,
I think so.
I think I'm running out of steam. I can't remember anything. Well, I have a terrible memory as it is. I'm going through menopause, guys. So, like, you know, this is what happens. Your memory starts to go to mush. So, unless it's like carved in my brain, I can't remember it. That's why I have to have notes in front of me. See, I've got notes. And Pat, what do you have going on?
Your book.
Working on my book.
That's the big new project right now.
Yeah, and so what's happening with that is it's going to be a digital book. It's going to be an ebook. At least for now. We could maybe eventually do it as a print book.
See what the response is.
See what the response is.
See if it's cost effective.
Yeah. So ideally, what I'd like to have it out before season 8 comes out.
Right.
So, you know, before next year. So maybe Christmas time, or maybe just shortly after Christmas, that type of thing. So that's what's going to happen with that. And I'll probably sell it through the channel. Well, it'll probably be on Amazon or something. We'll probably do it that way. And tomorrow I'm supposed to have a new video, and I haven't had a video in over a week. It's terrible. So I'm doing a video on the costumes of Olenna Tyrell, and that hopefully we'll have that out tomorrow. And then what else have you got going? We're going to have you come back on.
Yes, we'll talk. We can talk some Queen. We can talk music in general, or more pop culture stuff.
That was really fun, Jamie.
Throw some Star Wars in there.
Yeah, Jamie, would you come back and do another live stream with Pat and I again?
No, because somebody disrespected ABBA. So I'm never coming on the show again. Jeff, of course, I would love to. Anytime you want me, I'm here. I'm at your beck and call. If the people will have me, as I said in the last one, if the people will have me, I would more than happily come back. I can't even speak now. My mind's turned to mush. But yes, I would love to come back.
I wish I had a picture when I was when Pat and I were at Ryerson. We weren't hanging out at that point, but I was 3 of my classmates and I dressed up as ABBA for Halloween. I wish I had a picture of that. And I'm not sure which one I was. I was one of the girls. Like sometimes we cross-dressed. We did this in theater school. Like the girls would dress as the guys and the guys would dress as the girls. But I think this one time we did actually dress up. I dressed up as the one of the females.
They were having kind of their resurgence at that.
They were,
ABBA Gold, the collection.
ABBA Gold had come out. I bought that
a year or so before.
Absolutely, and then Mamma Mia was coming out shortly after that.
I remember my first year, which would have been fall of '95. My first year at Ryerson. Yeah, it was kind of everywhere, and I knew of ABBA. I don't know if I had any of their music or anything, but you immediately copied the CD and no, and
every time we went to a club,
I think they're fine. Like
anytime we went out, they always played Dancing Queen.
They always played Dancing
Queen was playing every time we went out.
We went down to Toronto Island during Frosh Week, which is like the week before the sort of the school starts, all the parties and stuff are happening, and so there's a big parade that Ryerson would do all down Yonge Street, like the main drag of Toronto, and then you get on the ferry and go to the island, and there was an ABBA cover band there, and I remember them saying,
there was a big
please don't throw it, because we were all covered in shaving cream and had like water guns and everything, which I think they'd since.
What was the name of that cover band? They were pretty famous.
ABBA-esque, I think.
Oh, ABBA-esque. Okay.
I think that was them.
Well, I remember when we were dressed up as ABBA, we went to an engineering party. It was Halloween. We went to an engineering party, and we had to leave because we thought we were going to get beaten up.
Wow.
Because these engineers they were really I don't know. There was a conflict. There was a conflict between the theater arts people and the engineering.
Oh, the engineers in general. Yeah,
and engineering.
That was always
engineering. So we went to this party, but I had a friend who was roommates with these engineers, and I'm like, I said to her, you know, I don't think you should be living here. This is the type of place you'll get date raped. Like seriously, it was terrifying. So we had to leave, and then we went to another party, and it was much more fun.
I had engineer friends, but yeah, there was a
At least, nothing against engineers, guys. Everybody here is an engineer.
Yeah, but
my father is an engineer, so I don't.
But the engineering department kind of had that.
Had that vibe.
That vibe, or that. Well, I remember I was in Res.
Ace of Base.
They had their. They
were really big. Ace of Base. So had that angel all over.
They had this engineer friend had this thing. It was basically what the engineers called every other department. Like sort of jokey names for the other departments. So the theater technicians were just glorified carpenters. And like ECE, early childhood education, were like glorified babysitters, something like that.
Oh yeah,
I was laughed at it. I was just like, because it was a certain level of fun. I don't think anybody kind of took that rivalry too seriously.
See, I didn't do any of those things because I was older. I went back to school at 26. So so I was already like, I'm not going to any of those, parties, Frosh Week parties and stuff, because I think I was working too. I was working part-time. Yeah. But that was your first time kind of away from home, wasn't it?
Yeah. 19 and the world is kind of your oyster at that point. Yeah. So it's all new and you're just making friends everywhere. And there was no real division. As far as I remember.
Yeah. So, but although the engineers were not big ABBA fans.
And
some of them were Rush fans, though.
They're big Rush fans.
There were some that
Jamie Rush, probably doesn't know who Rush is. Jamie, do you know who Rush is?
Rush, the band.
They sound familiar, but
Canadian.
Sing me one of their songs. Sing me one of their songs, and I'll probably know.
I don't even know.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to sing.
I see.
The only one I know is
I could, but I'm not. I wrote a book on them. But
you did a book on them. Yeah.
Look up, if you're on Spotify or jump on YouTube after. Look up.
They're probably
their Moving Pictures album. You would probably recognize some of the songs.
They're probably one of Canada's most famous bands.
Easily, yeah.
Easily, yeah.
I mean, they've sort of
retired now,
songs. But you would probably hear, oh yeah, I've heard this one.
You would know. As Geddy Lee is the lead singer. He's got a very particular voice. Yeah.
Tom Sawyer is probably one of their more popular songs. That's the first song off.
Yeah.
Moving Pictures. So if you're going to look into them, look at Moving Pictures.
Yeah, but that being said, most women don't like Rush.
They're kind
of a male.
They have that weird stigma.
They're like Nickelback.
There's
like,
a generation of women
Nickelback fans. Oh, the United States.
There should be no Nickelback fans.
The United States can keep Nickelback too. They can keep Nickelback and they can keep Justin Bieber.
And they can keep Bieber. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really want Nickelback. They say every time Nickelback plays, like what is it?
A kitten dies.
A kitten dies.
I don't know.
Yeah.
An
angel
falls.
Loses her wings. An angel falls. Yeah, poor Nickelback. Oh, he knows Nickelback. Yeah.
I'm not that young.
And the lead singer Chad was married to Avril Lavigne, who is Canada's sweetheart, I guess.
Oh,
Canada's sweetheart.
Yes.
Or Canada's.
I never had time for her, but whatever.
Well, actually, I think Alanis Morissette would have been Canada's sweetheart at one point. Shania Twain. We don't have a Canada's sweetheart.
Well, no, they might be. I'm rolling my eyes because I was never into any of them.
Yeah. But, you're never into Shania Twain. No, she's a country singer.
I know who she is. My sister likes her, but no,
She's a Donald Trump fan. She's a fan of Donald Trump. So.
I know this is the thing.
Now I can actively dislike her.
Yeah,
she came out as like a Donald Trump supporter, and like a couple of years ago, like my mom got married, and like she had like a Shania Twain song, and like as she walked down the aisle, it's like really sweet. And then like 2 weeks ago, it came out like she was a Trump supporter, and I was like, oh mate, it's like, Mom, we're gonna have to burn all the Shania albums.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, she said something really terrible. And I was like, oh, day one and things that stupid Canadians are saying. So, yeah, we have our share of morons. Wayne Gretzky as well. Wayne Gretzky and Shania Twain both are huge Trump fans, I think.
Not the great Wayne Gretzky. No.
Wayne Gretzky is
I didn't know that until you just said that.
Oh, you didn't know Wayne Gretzky is a conservative?
I didn't know he was I know plenty of conservatives. I have nothing against conservatives in general, but yeah, if you're
okay, I don't know if he's Trump. Well, he's from Los Angeles. I don't know if he supports Trump. Actually, I just know he said that Stephen Harper was the greatest prime minister we ever had. Okay, and
you lose a few points on that one, but yeah.
And then who is the other one? Oh, and of course, you guys don't know it, but we have this guy named who's the guy who wears the high collars?
Don Cherry.
Don Cherry. You guys probably don't know Don Cherry. If you're into hockey at all, you might know him. He's a crazy Canuck, but he's pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're gonna let you all go. Who's it? Pretty Dark says Canada's ELO.
Rush. He's saying Rush is Canada's ELO.
Oh, are they Canada's ELO?
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that comparison.
That way,
but it's funny because ELO is one of Jack's favorite bands.
Yeah, no,
ELO is amazing.
Yeah.
Are you, Jamie? Are you a fan of ELO?
Jeff Lynne. Yeah.
I am. Old Jeff. Oh, I can't think of his like Jeff
Lynne. Yeah.
Lynne, that's the one.
One of the traveling Wilburys.
Wilburys.
He's one of the traveling.
One of the surviving now.
And speaking of movie musicals, he wrote half the music for Xanadu, which I actually have that soundtrack. I downloaded it. I love it. I don't care what anyone says. I love Xanadu.
I know people who like Xanadu.
With Olivia Newton-John, and Jeff Lynne wrote half the music in it.
Rush has an awesome song called Xanadu. No relation to that movie, but yeah, it's off their Farewell to Kings album. It's an epic. It's fantastic.
Oh, and Leland's saying hi.
They played it on their last tour.
Leland, my son, is in the chat. He says, "Hello, Mummy." Hi, Leland. We were talking about you earlier. The costumes of John Cherry. Pretty Dark says, "Yeah, Don Cherry." That'll
be the next book. The costumes of Don Cherry.
That'll be my next book. Yeah,
some crazy.
I know his tailor actually. It's Harry Rosen. Harry Rosen's his tailor, so I could actually. Harry Rosen made an outfit for my dad.
Oh, nice.
Based on a Christopher Plummer outfit. He called up his tailor in England.
Not the Klingon one from the
not the
Star
Klingon
Trek,
one.
The Undiscovered Country.
No. Was Christopher Plummer in a Star Trek episode? Or
he was the villain in Undiscovered Country.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is a great Star Trek. It's one of the good Star Trek movies.
So anyways, this was the Canada Day. We should have put a Canadian flag behind us for Canada Day. Anyways, this is the Canadian edition of Costume Code. We talked a lot about Canada today, and I even said Canada Day and a boot.
How's it going,
How's it going, We should have had beers. We should have been drinking beers and toques. Yeah. And the Great White North. We should have done that. Yeah, we should have been doing that, Jamie, and been just a total stereotype. So we're gonna let everyone go. Thanks so much, Jamie, for coming. My throat's
thank you for having me once again. It's been a pleasure. Oh, can I just say this is a really bad segue, but I've just remembered there's a movie that came out this week that I'm probably going to see at some point in this week, and it's called Patrick.
Oh, no way!
It's about a dog. It's about a pug called Patrick who helps his owner find love.
Aww.
Does not sound like the sweetest film ever. So yeah.
Is that the dog that they tortured? Apparently there was a story about they're making a movie and the dog.
Oh, that was the dog.
That came out.
That was
a year or two ago, didn't it?
Oh, that's an old movie.
Yeah,
okay.
It was Dog's Purpose, and it turned out that the footage had been edited. And basically, it was like a disgruntled staff member had edited this footage to make it look like.
Oh, I just spread some fake news. This is terrible. Okay,
there was a movie. There was a documentary about a dog that had been abused and its aftermath. Yeah. Like really brutally. I won't get into details. I can't remember the name of it, but.
Okay, so it's called Patrick. That's coming out. And does that sound like a family movie?
Yeah, I think so. It's I think it's like a quite small, low-budget British film, so I don't know if it's gonna reach you guys. But yeah, it looks like just like a.
That sounds like a sweet little movie.
You aware of like
dog's name Patrick?
I approve.
Yeah, the dog's called Patrick.
Any movie
the movie's called Patrick.
Any movie by that title, I approve of.
All right, so we're gonna say thanks to everybody. I'm gonna sign off. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah, I will have a live stream next week. And then the week after, I'm not going to because we're taking a vacay with the fam. So I'll be back next week. Like I said, tomorrow I should have a new video out about Elena Terrell. And then I'll send you some pictures of her.
Yes.
So you could do a drawing of her.
Yeah.
And then we'll have Patrick on again soon, and we'll have you on again soon, Jamie. Okay, thanks so much. Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Jamie usually says ta-ra. Can you say ta-ra, Jamie?
Ta-ra. I'll see you in the next episode of Costume Code. Ta-ra.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. You can clip that up and have that. I won't